Everybody, Mark Helmer along with Dale Hoy. And Dale, we got what we wanted way back in August, 2 seats to the potential national championship game for junior college football.
Yeah, I do remember that well, back when it was about 103 degrees and we were sitting around wondering how this season was going to go. This is where everybody in college football, junior college football in the state of California wants to be, and actually in the nation, because this is probably the most legitimate national championship game on tap this year.
We're talking about the 37th annual Shrine Potato Bowl, the 4th appearance by the Fullerton Hornets in this contest, and it'll be the 13th meeting in history against an arch rival, the Bakersfield Renegades. Both of these schools celebrating their 75th year academically, and they go back into gridiron wars as well.
Oh yeah, they've been battling it out for quite some time. In fact, Hal Scherbeck's first real big loss was here to the tune of about 50-0. But you know, since then, of course, he's won 11 of the last 12 meetings. So I think he's turned things around there, and I think he's looking forward to doing the same thing today as well.
Now they're 8-2. That is the Hornets in the stadium overall. They're 6-1 against the Renegades, and the Renegades are very well aware of that. The Hornets come in #1 ranked in the country, #1 in the state. The Renegades, #2 in California and #3 nationally. And of the 11 or so bowl games in California, and for that matter nationally, this is the only one where 2 undefeated teams meet one another. And of the 4 nationally undefeated teams, 3 of them are in California, along with De Anza. So tradition is really on the front page here today.
Yeah, what's going to be real interesting is that if you look statistically in the state, you'll find that Bakersfield College is rated higher in offense and higher in defense both. But what you have to look at there is who they've played. And right now, the strength of the schedules thus far this year has really gone with Fullerton College.
The thing I kind of wonder about when guarding the stadium up here at Bakersfield College, this is one of the biggest junior college stadiums in the country. We're expecting a crowd in the order of 19 or 20,000. That's going to be a cheering section about 10 times what most of the young Hornet players have seen all season. I wonder if that could be a factor.
Well, I know Coach Scherbeck was a little bit concerned about whether or not the crowd would have anything to say about it, you know, with their input, but I really don't know at this point whether that's going to make as much difference as the size of some of these guys in the red jerseys I'm looking at right now.
They are enormous at Bakersfield, but of course that's something the Hornets have faced all season. It should be a dandy contest, and like the 2 of us here, you've got the best seat in the house at home. We'll be back with some more pregame activities leading up to the 1988 Shrine Potato Bowl in just a moment. From Memorial Stadium in Bakersfield, California, Fullerton College Media Services presents the 1988 Shrine Potato Bowl. It's the challenge for the national championship as the Fullerton College Hornets pay a visit to the Bakersfield College Renegades. Good afternoon, everybody. Mark Helmer along with Dale Hoy, scout for the San Diego Chargers, high atop a jam-packed Memorial Stadium here in Bakersfield for what is going to be literally, and I guess figuratively as well, the national championship for NCAA junior college football. It's one of about 11 bowl games throughout the state of California, but it is the only game in the state and in the nation that will pit 2 completely undefeated, untied teams against one another. The Fullerton Hornets, as you may well know, come in ranked #1 in the country, #1 in California. The Bakersfield Renegades, #2 in California, #3 nationally. But I would tend to think, Dale Hoy, whoever wins this one is definitely got to be the main team for 1988.
That's right, Mark. This is definitely the battle of the big boys. We're down on the field. The intensity level's real high. This is going to be the one that decides it all. So this is where you want to be when you start out, like we said earlier. We're looking at a real strong Fullerton defense against a very strong Bakersfield offense, and that's probably keynote right now.
We say a little bit iffy about the national championship, and we should explain why. There are 4 junior college teams in the country that were undefeated at the end of regular season play. The 2 you will see this afternoon, plus De Anza College out of Northern California, and of course the other one is Glendale, Arizona. Now on Thanksgiving Day, they played a team from Grand Rapids, Michigan, in what they call the College of the, or the Valley of the Sun Bowl,
right,
in Arizona, and that game was won by Glendale, Arizona. They played 10 games, but they are listed as national champions by the National Junior College Athletic Association. One problem with that is that organization's poll never mentions any of the California community and junior colleges. And keep in mind, 50% of the JC teams in the country are in the Golden State. So the national JC grid wire is really considered the ultimate one, and that's where we get our numbers, and that's the one that includes everybody.
Yeah, I've always had a problem trying to understand just how in the world you can call it a national type championship if you don't include everyone in the nation.
Now, we're going to be getting into numbers, of course, throughout the afternoon, but let's talk about factors regarding this game. The field is supposed to be in very fine condition. Dale, you've had a chance to walk down there. There are a few soft spots and things to watch out for. The sun could become something, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier, we're going to have close to 20,000 people here. That's a bigger crowd than the Hornets have seen all season. So as far as the atmosphere is concerned, you think any of that will be a factor?
Well, only in the sense that Fullerton's starting a freshman, a highly freshman football team. That may affect them somewhat, but I really can't see them being all that affected by it. I mean, they're pretty intense. They've got an all-sophomore defense, so I think that, and defense is what's been winning football games for them this year primarily. So I think they're going to be just fine. I think you may see a little bit of butterflies, a little tightness early on in the ball game. My major concern at this point is field position in terms of the sun. At this point, going from right to left, if you're looking you'll be looking into the sun, returning any kickoffs or punts. Punts are the primary problem. And going the opposite direction from your left to right, looking over your shoulder as a pass receiver, you're going to have a bit of a problem because this is a very hazy sun.
Yes, it is.
It's not just clear sunlight. It's very hazy, and it's directly in the eyes of the receivers. You can see by the shadows on the field right now.
You saw the Hornets come on the field a moment ago, and there's the Bakersfield Renegades getting ready to come on the field. Both of these schools go back 3/4 of a decade. They have tremendous winning traditions in junior college football, and they go back a long, long time together, so it should be a real dogfight. And it's been 11 straight victories in postseason and bowl games by the Hornets over the Renegades, and they definitely have something to prove, not only to themselves, but also to this capacity crowd, which, as you can probably tell, is heavily decked out in the red and white of the Renegades. As Dale's talking about, they had what they called Thule fog up here in the Bakersfield area a couple of days ago, which is that real thick stuff that usually fouls up the Golden State Freeway.
Right.
And frankly, we didn't know until about 2 days ago whether we'd even be able to see the field. The fog has largely moved out. The temperatures are expected to be in the mid to high 70s. But as you at home look at the field, from left to right, you're basically seeing the open end of the stadium, which would be to the left of your screen, pointing right to the southwest. It's not a true north-south stadium. It's really at kind of an angle here on the Bakersfield College campus, and later on in the afternoon it could really become a problem for receivers and the respective quarterbacks. Now let's talk about some of those numbers. As far as Bakersfield is concerned, even though they're behind in the state rankings to Fullerton, they're way ahead of them in a couple of other areas. Offensively, they're averaging over 400 yards a game, Dale, and 48 points. Big numbers.
Yes, sir. They've certainly got some good people. Stan Green, I understand, is the highest-rated quarterback in terms of efficiency in the state of California at this point. And some of the coaches that Coach Sherbeck talked to this week that have played against Stan have said that he's underrated even at that.
That could be the one scary thing. There you see a comparison of the numbers so far this season. The Hornets are ahead in some areas, behind in others. But like Dale is saying, they have the #1 ranked quarterback in the state efficiency-wise. They also have the #1 scoring player in one of their running backs, and that's Reggie Yarborough. So individually and collectively, they're very powerful. Now, the big question, if you're a Hornet fan, and it is really, I guess, your side of the argument, is the strength of the schedule, especially in the Southern California area with the remodeled Mission Conference in its 3 divisions. The Hornets, of course, 10-0 in that. The Bakersfield team, while coming out of the Western State Conference, a 2-division league from farther up north in California, and although they have had tremendous victories, and we'll give you some scores later on about very one-sided affairs, the record of all of their opponents added together at the end of the regular season, 36, 64, and 1. That means all those teams collectively only won 36% of their games.
And you know what, Mark? None of that really means a thing right now.
It may not.
It comes right down to this. They got to play football, and let's see who's going to win it.
And they're both healthy, so nobody has any excuses. Back deep for Bakersfield to get things underway will be Eddie Thomas, and along with him will be Ray Braxton. Getting ready to kick off for the Hornets, the man who's been doing it all year long, and that's Kirk Hainline. Ball taken inside the 10-yard line and returned up to the 20 for the Renegades by Todd Bobo.
I think we're going to have a clip on the opening play. Yes, we are. So right off the bat, we're going to start out with good defensive position for the Fullerton Hornets.
Here you see the backfield arrangement for the Renegades. Green, Yarborough, Rice, Collins, Blackman, and Sykes. We'll give you some individual numbers. And here's the tackles. Williams, Matthews, Miller, Pearson, Soto. Both of those tackles are enormous. The penalty was on the Renegades, clipping on the return. So, be 1st and 10 for Bakersfield
and
from their own 10-yard line.
Excuse me, Mark. Kenny Bell was in on that opening tackle on the kickoff return.
Just took him 4 seconds to get the holding penalty.
Got some movement in the offensive line. I think the left tackle, number 72. He's a big-looking fella himself.
It will be procedure against the Renegades. That'll back him up 5 more. Defensively, this is how it looks for the Hornets. You've seen these names before. Femley and Flowers, Hager, Mason, and Healy. Lavia, Johnson, Estes, Rollins, Christensen, and Glatzhofer. And we should talk about the size. The 2 tackles for the Renegades, 295 and 336. This is a fella you're going to see a lot today. Reggie Yarborough with his first carry of the ball game.
Just a head-off tackle. Tried to just beat Fullerton in a physical way and just weren't able to do it, just like a lot of other teams so far this year haven't been able to on that same situation.
So they had a 1st and 15 after a half the distance to the goal penalty for clipping, and then 5 more for motion. And on that play, it's a 2-yard run by Yarborough. Now it'll be 2nd. They can call it a long 12, short 13 from the Bakersfield 7-yard line.
Should see them testing the cornerbacks right now.
They'll run split backs almost
the wide side.
They'll run split backs almost the whole time. There's
what a
Yarborough,
hit.
and he really got met at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, what a nice hit. That was James Rollins on that one.
James Rollins in on a good stick for the Hornets on Yarborough.
Well, he's setting the tone right now, Mark.
There's going to be some serious hitting on this one, you can be sure.
Well, Yarborough's had 2 serious hits now and two straight plays, so he's been introduced.
That'll move the ball up to the 11-yard line, a gain of 4 on that one by Yarborough. It'll be 3rd and 9. Stan Green, 105 of 186, 1766, 20 touchdowns in 1988. Sets him strong right, split backs, looking for his favorite receiver, and that's Lindsey Collins.
Yeah, Lindsey's a good ball player. He's been real productive this year, but you're not going to catch the ball if you don't look it all the way into the hands before you turn up. Lindsey turned up before he had a chance to really make contact with the ball.
Now you have to wonder about...
Little butterflies seem to be on the red-shirted side of the field today, early on.
Now you get an interesting test for the first time for the Hornets, as back to return the punt will be Tim Imperiale. He's brought punts and kickoffs back for touchdowns this year.
Let's see if that sun affects him, Mark.
Kicks away. He takes it at the 44. Imperiale will get maybe 2 yards. Tackle made by the Renegades, Kelly Ballou.
Get down around the 39-yard line. That's excellent starting field position. I'll tell you what, that's one of the things you like to do is in a ball game like this, maybe defer on the kickoff so that you can take the second half kickoff in terms of offense and you can start playing defense on the first time around. If there's any jitters, Mark, that's where it's going to show up most in the offensive side.
There you saw the backfield set, and we'll bring that back in a second for you. 1st and 10 for the Hornets from the Renegades 39-yard line. Split formation, Victor Williams, number 3 in the state as a quarterback. Stan Green, of course, as we said, for Bakersfield, listed number 1. And Jeff Andrews, the number 3 ranked rusher in the state of California. And like their counterparts, the Hornets start off with a 5-yard motion penalty.
Yeah, that was the right side of the offensive line, I believe, there.
It'll be 1st and 15 before we do anything. And that'll move it back to the Bakersfield 44-yard line. As we said in our pregame activity, both schools in their 75th year, both outstanding football programs, and both of them getting penalized in the biggest game of the year so far.
It's that offensive jitters.
In motion, as Imperiale, they're going to give the ball on the first legitimate play of the game to Andrews. Andrews got maybe back to the... Well, they're going to give him credit for a yard, but frankly, I don't know how. The last line of scrimmage was the 45-4. Now he's back at the 45, so we're going to call it a loss of 1. That'll make it 2nd and 16.
That's a big physical defense. They've definitely decided that Jeff Andrews isn't going to hurt them today.
They have some big people up there across the front. We'll tell you about them in a moment. Meanwhile, it's going to be 2nd and at least 15 for the Hornets. In motion this time is going to be Matt Waddell. Williams looking quickly to Waddell. Brought down at the 50-yard line immediately by Royce Robinson.
That's a super play by Robinson. He didn't take the fake from the upfield receiver. The outside receiver was supposed to drive upfield, and he was supposed to go with him, and he let him go and came right up on the ball.
Well,
just nice defense.
3rd and 21 back at the 50-yard line. Coming into the game for the Hornets, Ray Polaris. And also, I believe Clipper Hackett came in there a moment ago. Jeff Andrews out. You'll see a straight or basic, well, it depends on who you want to talk to, 3-4 or 52. We were debating that before the game. It's a conventional pro defense for the Renegades.
Tell you right now, though, Mark, they're just lining up and playing straight football.
Single setback, strong to the left for the Hornets. Williams backpedaling, 7-step drop, swings it out to Polaris, his favorite backfield receiver, and the pass is incomplete. We're going to go now to Gary Hilbert, our sideline announcer, with his first report of the afternoon. Gary?
Mark and Dale here on the field. So much electricity, of course, of the crowds, and the field, the Fullerton Hornets players screaming and making
Our apologies, Gary Hilbert's microphone cutting out a little bit. Matt Waddell, who kind of inherited the punting chores for the Hornets, lets it go from the 50-yard line. Punt is fair catched and then dropped at the Renegades' 22-yard line. And I believe the Hornets think they came up with it.
They did, Mark. It was Lindsey Collins on the return. He came up too hard, let the ball get underneath him. He rolled over the top of it. And I believe it was number 43 that came up with the football for the Hornets.
Lindsey Collins.
Yes, it was Toby Howell.
Fumbling at the 24.
That's a big contribution.
And with 11:48 in the first quarter, the Hornets will take over on the first major turnover of the afternoon. 1st and 10 now from Bakersfield's 24-yard line. In motion, Nick John Haydick, pitch back to Jeff Andrews. He'll take a look at the right side and gets a sizable block to move down from the 24-yard line down to nearly the 15. Gain of nearly 9 on that.
You know, Mark, we were talking before the game, if you recall, and you mentioned to me that Coach Scherbeck had said that he didn't think the kicking game was going to have a whole lot of impact on this game. And thus far, you know, the bad punt, first of all, by Bakersfield out of their own end zone, gave Fullerton great field position to start their first drive, and now the botched punt return has given Fullerton an excellent scoring opportunity now.
And Andrews with 8 yards on that. They spot it back at the 16. That's apparently where he put his knee down. Split backs, Haydick and Imperiale wide to the left. Now they'll shift into an I formation. A blitz being shown by the Renegades. They send a linebacker, and Andrews steps up before he can get there. And Andrews will get back to the line of scrimmage if he's lucky. It's probably the 17, so a loss of 1.
I think he's got the first down, Mark. He does.
My apologies. The
angle's pretty tough up here.
Well,
folks.
The angle's a little tough, and we're about 30,000 feet above the field, too. So
we had a nosebleed up here.
So my eyes are beginning to blur. They made it to the 12. It's a gain of 4. No matter what I said, 1st and 10 at the Renegades' 12-yard line. I've been in some JC stadiums with a steep climb up to the press box, but you practically had hiking boots to get up here. Clock running down at 10:35 in the first quarter. And we may have an option pass here by Andrews. Play will not work. Dragged down from behind by outside linebacker Devon Edwards.
Well, you know what happened there, Mark, was initially, before the ball was snapped, they showed a man coverage, a man coverage there. And right as the ball was snapped, they went into a 2-deep zone coverage. So there was a safety back to help out with the extra receiver.
Here's the way they stack up in the quarterback position. We said Stan Green is on top in our graphic and also top in the state. 105-86, 1766, 20 touchdowns and 5. And Victor Williams ranked number 3. Nothing to be ashamed of there. And yet Victor's actually thrown more passes than Stan Green. The question is, among other coaches, has Green been used as much as he could be? They say he's underrated even though he's already number 1. Williams rolling, looking for Imperiale and running out of time. He'll just throw it away.
There's a typical Victor Williams play. That's why that's what I like about Victor more than anything else. More than the touchdown passes, anything else. The guy's a winner because he doesn't beat himself.
Now, if you were a 6-foot, 180-pound sophomore like Victor Williams and you had 6'5", 266-pound Arthur Paul chasing you, wouldn't you throw the ball away too?
And I'll tell you what, Mark, I think 6 foot might be pushing it for Victor.
And he's almost 6 feet wide, or as far as Arthur Paul is concerned.
Yeah, well, Victor plays like he's about 7 feet tall, but I don't think he's quite 6 feet. But that's just a classic example. of why he doesn't beat himself. He knew, just had the presence of mind and know where to throw the football.
Ball is spotted on the 17-yard line. They need to get to the 2. So it'll be 3rd and 15 from the Bakersfield 17, and I think we've either got a whistle or we got a timeout. We're going to have a motion call.
We've got to delay a game. Delay a game, Mark, and that may hurt us a little bit now if we don't get those 5 yards back, because it's going to be kind of, you know, that could have a bearing on a potential field goal here.
Here you see the running back situation. Now, Reggie Yarborough, #1 scorer in the state with those 20 TDs. Jeff Anders, #3, and Jeff just recently named to the second team JC All-American squad, so doing fine there as well. It'll be 3rd and 20. There's a good look at Victor Williams from the 22. Sets Mike Thomas in motion, drop back, look into the end zone. No, he'll go to the short man, Haydick, and Haydick knocked down immediately by inside linebacker Everett Lampkins. He got to the 19, so it'll be a gain of 8 yards, and that's all. Brings up 4th and 12 from the Bakersfield 18-yard line.
Well, we're getting ready to look at the top kicker in the state, and I believe the recent All-American pick himself, Kirk Hainline.
Maybe longer than that now. The ball spotted at the 26-yard line. This would be a 36-yard field goal attempt by Hainline, #1 kicker in California.
That looks good to me.
And that's why. 8:59 left in the first quarter, and Kirk Hainline, who, by the way, if you have not heard, was just named the JC All-American place kicker by JC's Gridwire, and he puts the Hornets on top by a score of 3-0.
Well, so far I'm pretty impressed with Bakersfield's defense, Mark. They've held a couple times now when they had, you know, poor field position. Their backs up against the wall. They've done a real good job. They just line it up playing straight football. They're trying to really just match up man for man and tell you to beat them. And thus far, anything that Fullerton's been able to get has come real hard.
Well, a fine job by the Hornets after they took the ball over with 11:48 to bring it down for the 3-point play by Kirk Hainline. And there you see some Fullerton College championship rings from the past. And they'd like to do that again if they possibly can. Hainline will now put on the face of the kickoff man. And the Renegades have their folks back trying to get something going on their next series. Ball taken at the 5-yard line by Eddie Thomas. Tripped up by guess who for the Hornets? You got it, Kevin Capps. Little 5'7" linebacker did it again.
He's everywhere.
So the kickoff return for Thomas of 10 yards. Renegades taking over, 1st and 10 at their own 18-yard line.
Well, let's see if they open it up and throw it a little bit more here.
They're known for doing that, and of course the fellow that the Renegades, Stan Green, likes to go to, Lindsey Collins, and that's Lindsey Collins there. Pass incomplete. Collins, 44 passes caught in 1988, which tied the Bakersfield College record, 944 yards. He averages 21.5 yards every time he catches the ball and 13 TDs.
Yeah, and that record he tied is his own from the year before.
From the year before. Gee, I wonder if he'll get to transfer to a 4-year school.
I would say so.
Split back Stan Green at the helm for the Renegades. Double wideouts to the top of the screen, one to the bottom. The Hornets just read, no blitz. This time they pass the ball off to the flanker man, Bobby Blackman. And Blackman from the 18 out to nearly the 33-yard line.
Fullerton's claiming they got the football again, but I don't think the officials are going to agree with them. Blackman actually really changed up there. Normally the receiver makes that catch and pivots back out toward the sideline, which is just exactly where the defensive back that time, I think it was Dorian Estes, came up on the outside to stop that. And this time Blackman made a real nice move back inside and was able to pick up about 12, 15 more yards.
Gain of 15 on that last play, 1st and 10 now from the Renegades 33. Another quick little shot to the far side. Lindsey Collins gets his first reception of the game, and he'll move the ball up to almost the 42-yard line.
Well, we're clearly seeing a pattern now, Mark. They've gone to that short pass now about 5 times. I think they must feel that Fullerton's corners are going to give them a lot of cushion. I'm not real sure why. Estes and Rollins have done a super job all year of staying with people tight, so I don't really think there's any reason for them to be off so much that they're getting those passes completed that consistently underneath them.
If you're a Hornet follower, to be diplomatic, well, we'll get to it after this play. Split backs, and there's Stan Green faking a pass. He's going to swing it out to the side. Maceo Barbosa was the man making the reception, and he's knocked out of bounds quickly by the Hornets' Wes Flowers.
Yeah, Wes came all the way across the field and ran him down. That was just super effort. He was up in the quarterback's face, and when he dumped the ball, he just kept right on going by the quarterback and hustled over the sidelines, made a great play.
There you get a look at the brain trust for the Bakersfield Renegades. Loss of 4 on that last play. So it'll make it third and long 5 back on the 37-yard line. They try to go to Collins again, and he can't put his hands on it.
Well, they're going to keep going that short game, aren't they? This is going to be a team that's going to run the football at you, throw short, and then try to hit the big pass over your head every now and then.
Suffice it to say that the Renegade players in being interviewed this week were very, very confident, almost to the point of being a little bit too confident. Meanwhile, the Hornets were more subdued in their comments. The punt's away, and it's a bad one by Jason Pendleton.
Well,
but it gets a wonderful Renegade bounce and almost bumps into a Hornet player.
Doesn't count, my friend. It's all going to come back. I think, let's see, we're going to be close to a first down. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty for too many men on the field, Fullerton.
And that's really a shame if you're following the Renegades. That was a 46-yard punt by Pendleton, and it's going to be for nothing. Anyway,
well, not necessarily. I mean, they
motion Renegades.
They got motion on the
so
Renegades.
They'll bring it back. Anyway,
but we're also going to have a penalty here for too many men on the field for Fullerton.
Okay, well, that still would mean they'd probably do the whole thing all over again.
Probably
anyway,
would.
Getting back to this point, several of the Renegade players were interviewed this week, and some people even said they were a little bit cocky in their attitude about how they felt they would take on the Hornets. Meanwhile, Dorian Estes kind of stirred the pot a little bit, and assessing the receivers that he was going to face from the Renegades, he said they're good. They're not as good as Saddleback, and we beat them. There you see the officials for today's game. Referee Bill White, the field judge Jim Farmer, the head linesman is Rick Kellenberger. Jim Farmer, well, no, they made a change on me there. Dean Crowley is the back judge, and Kevin Matthews is the field judge.
It's good to see my old friend Jim Farmer back down there again, former coach at West Los Angeles Junior College.
Well, they're going to have a little
Boise State.
They're going to have a little discussion down there about what's going on. One thing we can tell you about the first quarter, as far as the Renegades are concerned, they have been held scoreless in the first quarter only twice this season. Meanwhile, for the Hornets, that's their best time of the game defensively. They've only allowed 10 points in the first quarter all year. Keep in mind, the Renegades average 48 points a game. The Hornets only allow 19.5, so something's got to give there. And then when you kind of turn it around the other way, when it comes to the Hornets offensively, they're 366 yards per game, and defensively Bakersfield only allows 225. There you see
Hal's down there working.
the winningest man in college football,
working the
JC
rule books.
level, after his 50-0 loss here in his first game against Bakersfield long ago and far away. But since that day, he's gone 220-67, counting the losses after that one and 6 ties. And he's out directing traffic among the officials. Now, they finally reached an agreement here, and frankly, I don't understand it.
Well, the too many men on the field was declined, as was the illegal procedure on the part or the motion. So they would have offset, but so that everyone could keep the kick, Fullerton went ahead and just took the ball.
Well, that ought to be a little bit interesting. Now maybe field position will become a factor. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Hornets from their own 18-yard line. Imperiale wide out to the bottom of your screen. Nick John Haydick to the top. High formation. Victor Williams straight up the middle to Jeff Andrews, and he's got a pretty good hole. Nick Thomas making the stop for the Renegades. Moves the ball from the 18 out to the 28-yard line. It is officially a gain of 10 yards.
Yeah, some real nice blocking there by the center, Brian Woods, and 66, Joe Hayes on the right side. Really has sprung some blocks there that I should say sprung Jeff Andrews loose on that play.
Well, officially now they're going to take it back a little bit. They're going to say second and less than a yard. They're going to have double wideouts this time to the bottom of your screen. Matt Waddell out there along with Haydick. They're sending a linebacker. He is dumped immediately by Ray Polaris.
You called it. What a beautiful block, huh?
Great block by Polaris. And as a result of that, I think Andrews got the first down. They sent a linebacker. They sent Everett Lampkins from, on that play, the right side of the Hornet line, and Polaris knew it. So that could have been an audible by Victor Williams at the line, or some good homework done by the Hornets back in Orange County.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a super block by Ray. He really annihilated the defender, but you know what? We didn't get an inch on that run.
Third and that much for a first down.
So somebody else was playing good defense.
They're going to send in a linebacker again. The Hornets this time go right back through the same hole. They sent a linebacker from the left side of the Hornets line, and Andrews went to his same spot to the right. Got enough that time from the 27 officially out to the 32.
You know what I think is going to be an interesting thing to look for as this game goes on is how well, and I don't think he's been tested this way, but I don't know how well, and there you see Jeff's numbers, I don't know how well Jeff has stood up, had to stand up to the kind of beating I think he's going to take from this big physical defense out here today.
It's 266, 246, and 240, the three downmen.
And they're hitting him.
And they're hitting him. There's a lot of hard hitting down there at this moment. Haydick in motion, strong right, I formation. Williams, second man, it's Andrews from the 32 to the 36, gain of 4.
Coach Sherbeck certainly doesn't seem to have any apprehension, though, about how much he can take. He's dishing it out every time.
Well, you know, we talked a little bit about this earlier, and we've talked about it all season long. Size-wise, the Hornets have been outmanned weight-wise all year long, and yet it doesn't really seem to affect him. It might sound like a little bit of a put-down, but you go down on the sidelines before a game when they're warming up, and quite honestly, I've seen high school teams that appear bigger than they are, and yet they dish it out every week. So
that's right. They're well coached.
You don't get to be 10-0 and #1 in the country by accident.
Well, they've got some players that want to win, and they're well coached.
And there's one of them. That's Polaris, I believe, and he'll move it to the 40, but there's a flag, so we'll just wait on this one. And usually when it's there and it's in the line, it's going to either be motion or holding. I think it was the head linesman that threw the flag.
Well, we've got 11 red-shirted referees out there that say it's on the Fullerton people.
Well, Arthur Paul pointed toward the Hornets, and he's much bigger than I am. I'll take his word for it. And it is motion against the Hornets. So that'll back him up and make it 2nd and 11, assuming they take the penalty, and they will.
Well, thus far, Fullerton running the ball as much as they have is pretty consistent with what Coach Sherbeck told me was going to take place. He said, we got to keep the ball out of the quarterback's hands. And the only way to do that is hang on to the ball. We can't let Stan Green run his offense.
Hey, that's the best thing. You can't do it if you're not on the field. And as far as the Hornets are concerned, and Hal Sherbeck in particular, he said they had a good week of practice. I asked him about the crowd, and he said the main thing you have to do is just keep your players focused. And remember, they began the year with 12 sophomores and 72 freshmen, but these young men have grown up in a hurry. Williams doing pirouettes in the backfield, off to Polaris, and he's got a block.
And he's got a first down.
And he's up to the 43-yard line.
Brian Woods out there leading for him on that screen.
Gain of 13. There you see Tim Imperiali's numbers compared to Lindsey Collins. Collins, one of the top receivers in the state.
But you've got to remember there that they spread the ball around a lot more at Fullerton. There are a lot of receivers catching footballs. Lindsey's the primary guy here at Bakersfield. That's why Tim doesn't have more catches for more yardage and touchdowns.
That's right. There's some guy named Haydick on the other side.
There's Haydick, and there's Wiley. I mean, they throw the ball to their backs. They use everybody. They do a great job of it.
This was the thing that had Coach Bowser concerned from Bakersfield defensively, is just simply that the Hornets do so much. It was a gain of 13 that time for Polaris. Williams this time looking to Haydick. Can't do that. He's got a wide open receiver in Shane Wiley, and it's right through his hands.
He got it up a little high.
Not the best pass in the world.
Well, not to your tight end. He's been in there beating up linemen, and he's not quite ready to go up that high for the ball on his first catch.
And there was a guy down there with all the bands before the game that had a step ladder, went up about 12 feet in the air. That might have helped him on that that one. But
actually, on that play, when they went into the slot, the corner widened out with the motion man, and they had the slot man, as it turned out, wide open up the field for about a 10-yard seam pattern. He could have probably run for another 20.
When I said Shane Wiley just went through his hands, keep in mind he was 6'3" and practically jumping then, so he can reach up the stairs a little bit himself, but that was still too high. Single back, double wideouts to the bottom of the screen. Now they're going to send Andrews in motion. Haydick to the top. Williams wants to go to him, can't. He'll swing it to Polaris to the left.
He's
and
got
three
screen.
blockers.
I'll tell you, Bakersfield really recovered well on that. The screen was perfectly set up. They sent Jeff Andrews out into the field, which took the linebacker out with him and really cleared a whole zone for Polaris. There were 3 linemen out leading him, and all of a sudden they disappeared, and Bakersfield, held that to about, I'd say, around a 9-yard gain.
Polaris.
No, it's a first down.
It is. They went from the Hornets 43 to the Renegades 47. So it's a gain of 10 yards. You may be able to hear in the background the coaching staff for the Hornets. And the Renegades assistants are up here not too far from us as well. We were talking about the pass receiving of Ray Polaris. He stands about 6th in line among the entire Hornets squad. From out of the backfield, a fullback position, basically at 26 receptions, 319 yards, 12.3 yard average every time he caught the ball. And as far as touchdowns goes, 2 from that area. Here you see the national championships the Hornets have won up till now: 1965, 67, and 1983. And they would like to make today number 4. There's a timeout on the field at the moment, and frankly, we did not see who called it. It was apparently a Hornets timeout.
Yeah, actually they had a mix-up on the offensive set.
And there you see what looks close to a capacity crowd here. Memorial Stadium seats about 19,500. And most of them are here. The last report we had this morning is that they had 17,000 plus tickets sold when the gates opened at something like 9 o'clock this morning. So we'll hope to get an attendance figure later on. But JC football is big in this part of the state. Be sure of that. The Hornets set to go 1st and 10 from the Renegades 47. Williams pitch back to Andrews around the right side. Another good block by Ray Polaris. And Andrews is down inside the 40-yard line.
Now that's a fine play there just by alignment. That play worked primarily because of alignment. They went into a slot. The Bakersfield defense widened to the side of the slot and made it real easy on the wide side of the field for Fullerton to block the corner and get around. Andrews was around the corner before anyone was even involved in the play, just because of the alignment of the offense.
And another great block by by Ray Polaris for Jeff Andrews. Tony Goulet now comes in at the fullback spot for the Hornets, but they'll split everybody out wide now. Haydick to the far side, Imperiali near side. Goulet behind Victor Williams, and they slot Jeff Andrews. They're going to give it to Goulet, and he's not going to really go much of anywhere.
Yeah, I think he got a foot.
Maybe a foot, and he was met by 2 different Renegade ball players in there for him, Michael Williams and Everett Lampkins, and he got basically nothing on that one.
And they've got some real active linebackers. Notice that they've got good size, and they're real aggressive.
They're going to give him credit for a yard, and they're being quite charitable between you and me. It's at the Bakersfield 39-yard line. Now they got a set I haven't seen in a while from them. 3 setbacks. Williams is going to give it to Andrews.
He got the first down.
He's popped at first by Lampkins at about the 36-yard line, but he'll fall from there over the 35, and he may even have the nose of the football into the far side of the 34-yard line, so just a little bit beyond the 35.
This would be a great place this would be a great time now, Mark, for a trick type of play, something a gimmick kind of play, a halfback pass, a reverse, something of this nature.
The other thing you kind of wonder about, it'd be a good time for play action too, because they've really made it kind of look in the last couple of plays like they're setting up the running game, and that might be a good time to do that as well. They're going to send
there's
Waddell
your reverse.
in motion, and it's a reverse to Haydick, and he's shirt collared at first by Michael Thomas and down from there.
That's why I'm not a coach. I guess it wasn't such a good idea. That play took a little long to develop. I think there was a lot of line surge on the Bakersfield side of the line, which really kind of threw the timing of the play off into the backfield.
I don't want you to worry, but it looks like Coach Scherbeck's got you about as far from the field as he could get you today.
Hey, he ran the play, huh?
That's right. He must have heard you. As a result of that, by the way, it's 2nd and 17, back on the Renegades' 42-yard line.
Well, the reason for that was Fullerton had run a pretty standard offense up to that point, you know, pounding away, and maybe you throw something in there a little different.
This is a good down for a blitz. It's also a good time if you're Victor Williams to launch one for the end zone. He's got Imperiale on man coverage wide out to the bottom of the screen. Imperiale broken away from his man. They try to flood the middle of the field, and the ball is batted away for the Renegades by Everett Lampkins. And it's good that it was, because if Lampkins hadn't swatted it, Imperiale and Ray Polaris were both there.
I think right now Victor's a little confused. They're seeing a whole lot of different looks in terms of the coverage. They've got a little man in there, a little 3-deep zone, and some 2-deep zone with some 5 under coverage with man and zone combination.
And yet they're not really blitzing a lot. They're not jumping a lot of people around. It's a different look on every down. 3rd and again 17 from the Renegades' 42-yard line. Less than a minute remaining in the first quarter. Happy you could join us via Fullerton College Media Services for the 37th annual Shrine Potato Bowl. Williams on 3rd and 17 swings it out to Polaris, and this may not work either. The Renegades bring him down at the 44, and they're lucky, though there is a flag, and that's probably a holding call right on the line of scrimmage. So just hold everything here.
This game's going to come down to big plays, Mark.
It's holding, and it's against the Hornets. Now the question is, does Bakersfield want to take it or decline it? They haven't had great field position up till now. You might want to back them up, but then again, do you want to give them another down? The ruling is they will decline the penalty, and there's Bill White with the official signal.
Well, that says a lot that they went ahead and declined it. They must have some thorough respect for the Fullerton offense to think that they could come up with around 20 some odd yards, close to 20 yards, to pick that first down up.
Hainline on to punt from the spot of the Renegades 44. Excuse me, I said Hainline, I meant Matt Waddell. Waddell gets a pretty good one away. Signal for the fair catch and taken at the 10-yard line by Lindsey Collins. And there's 9 seconds remaining in the first quarter for the Renegades to set sail from their own 34 yards on the kick. End of the field.
Actually, that would have been a 30-yard play to get a first down if they had taken the holding penalty there. So that says something about what they think of Fullerton's offensive capability, that they wouldn't give him one shot and try to get 30 yards. I haven't seen anything Fullerton's done yet that's going to get that kind of yardage against Bakersfield right now.
They're sending a linebacker, the Hornets are, that is. The pass is intended on a slant play over the middle to Lionel Sykes, the tight end for the Renegades, and maybe kind of the hidden guy in the whole story as far as the Renegades.
If you notice one thing, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, Mark, but Stan Green has been really not too consistent throwing those quick passes right now, and I'll tell you what it is, he's not getting his feet set up quick enough. I mean, he's not getting them back there set and throwing.
He may not have time. We were speculating between ourselves whether or not the Hornets
has nervous feet.
With their
he's got
defensive
feet,
set are trying to rush him, and I think they are.
Now there he makes a fine pass, and he doesn't get any help because now Lindsey's got nervous hands.
I think that time that the Hornets sent Wes Flowers on a little defensive trick as well. So he's got nervous feet, but I think the feeling is, and it's what the Renegades expected, that with their linebackers, the Hornets would do a lot of things to try to mess up his timing, and so far it has.
It has, but they haven't really come after him that much.
Just enough to get him nervous.
I think he was nervous when he opened the game, Mark.
It could well be. I mean, this is...
And I don't think he stopped being nervous.
We'll tell you about the scores of people they've played so far, but nobody of the caliber of the Hornets. Green now looking out to Collins at the 22, and he falls forward to the 25 and out of bounds. That'll stop the clock, but it also ends the first quarter. And the pass is a gain of 15 yards to Collins to end the first period of play. Hurricane line with a 36-yard field goal, and the Hornets 1/4 of the way home in the 37th annual Shrine Potato Bowl, striving for what they hope will be their 4th national championship, leading by a score of 3-0. Mark Elmer along with Dale Hoy, our statistician Joe Arden, and our entire sports crew from Fullerton College Media Services, bringing you the 4th appearance by the Hornets in the Potato Bowl. They have an 8-2 record in this building overall. They've played other bowl games and postseason play here in the past, and they are 6-1 against Bakersfield in this stadium. Now, another statistic, Dale, that could be interesting in that entire first quarter. Remember, we said Renegades had been held scoreless only 2 times this season. They never got beyond the 37-yard line, their own 37-yard line in the entire first quarter. Another blitz is on by the Hornets. Reception made for the Renegades by Bobby Blackman, and a good and very timely ankle tackle for Fullerton by Dorian Estes.
You know, Dorian Estes and James Rollins both have looked a little apprehensive today, though. They're coming up a little apprehensive. They must have seen something on film as far as these guys breaking the long one out of a short pass, because they're sure coming up apprehensive. I'm not used to seeing them play like that.
Well, you don't get to be 10-0 in the Western States Conference by accident either. They've got to have respect for the Renegades. Here's Green launching one, and it's caught but out of bounds by Blackman. Defending for the Hornets was James Rollins, and here's Gary Hilbert with a sideline report.
Mark and Dale, something going on here on the sidelines. The last time the Fullerton College Hornets had the ball offensively, they had some problems moving the football. Well, offensive coach Ted Armillo had something to say to his players to really exist to the nose guard. They haven't been quick enough to the guy, and that's how come that the Fullerton ground game wasn't as effective the last time they held the ball. So we'll have to wait and see from then on. Okay, back up to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Gary. The nose guard he's talking about is Chris Figueroa of Bakersfield, and he was causing some problems for the Hornets. 3rd and 12 for the Renegades. Give the ball off to Karl Price. It was a 3rd and 2 play, I should say. And Price moves it from the 33 out to about the 38-yard line.
Price, another good-sized back, isn't he? 5'11", 217 pounds, sophomore. Good-sized running back.
And now they've made it to the 38. That's the farthest down the field the Renegades have been so far in the game. They have basically an entire sophomore offensive unit, except for 2 running backs, Roy Braxton and Gino Valpredo. The Hornets, meanwhile, are virtually all sophomores except for Mahi Lavia, who is a freshman.
On defense.
On defense. So it's veteran against veteran, and here we got veteran against veteran as well.
And a face mask.
But who got the face mask? Is it Collins, or is it going to be James Rollins?
It's going to be Rollins. It's a Fullerton penalty.
The pass moves the ball up to the Hornets' 48-yard line. Gain of 14. Gain of 14, and it'll be...
Go back and take a look at it. Just another quick hitter. Makes a nice move outside. Rollins comes up and just caught the face mask. Certainly not intentional, but they're going to call it anyway.
That's an unintentional penalty, so that'll be 5 more yards on top of that.
And this is the time to start shutting them down now.
1st and 10 now for the Renegades at the Hornets' 43-yard line. Split backs. Green will give to Karl Price again. Price from the 43 to the 37.
You know, when your strong safety's coming up and making the tackle there, you know, they're getting in past that offensive line. A tackle made by John Christensen, strong safety.
First quarter statistics we'll give you in a moment. And there is one glaring one, and that's what Hal Scherbick wanted, and that's ball control. 2nd down, about 5 yards to go. Green with 3 wideouts, double split backs. Gives it to Yarborough, and that fools nobody, as a large portion of the Hornets student body meets him on that one and throws him back from about the 35-yard line. They're going to give him credit for 2-yard gain. And he's quite frankly fortunate to have that. First quarter, time of possession for the Hornets, 13-13. For the Renegades, 1 minute and 47 seconds.
Well, right now, Bakersfield's doing the opposite to Fullerton in terms of time of possession.
And yet total offense was only 47 yards to 40 in favor of the Hornets. Of course, the one key thing, that turnover on the fumbled punt by Collins leading to a field goal. And there you see Karl Bowser, the head coach for the Renegades. He's in his 22nd year overall at Bakersfield College, his 5th at the helm of the Renegades, and he'll talk to his quarterback, Green. But I'm really surprised at some of these numbers, Dale, in the first quarter. Again, the total offense very close. The key thing so far is in the game, of course, is the big turnover by Collins that led to the field goal. But that time of possession has really got to make the Hornets happy. 13-13 to a minute 47. And there's a man who always looks concerned. Undefeated, untied, #1 in the country. By the way, in case you hadn't heard, he was also named Mission Conference Coach of the Year. And he looks like he's got a 0-10 team. Even when he wins, he never smiles. I think we got one little smile after the Rancho Santiago game.
He's a little busy right now because he's up to his neck in it right now because this Bakersfield team seems to have figured out the physical edge on Fullerton at the moment. They've got a little rhythm going. It's time to break that up, and I'm sure he's concerned about it. Head coach has been around long enough to know when the rhythm and things are starting to change in a ball game. He's got to get that momentum back.
Well, he talked about that. The players need to be focused, and of course, the key theme that he's explained to us and the writers for Fullerton College all season long is consistency. And this is not the kind of day where you can let down on that. 3rd and 2, ball at the Hornets 35. They will give it to Yarborough, their main man, and this is why Yarborough can go and will. Touchdown, Bakersfield's Renegades. Reggie Yarborough this season, 115 carries, 905 yards, 7.9 average, and up till today, 20 TDs. Now he's got 21, the #1 scorer in the state for a back. Here's the #2 scorer as a kicker. Extra point by Jason Pendleton. And the Renegade loyals are happy as the football goes out into the construction area, and Bakersfield on top now by a score of 7-3.
Well, I'll tell you, that was just some great blocking at the point of attack by Pierce, Matthews, Sykes, the tight end, Abraham Soto, the center. Just a great job on the right-hand side. They just eliminated everybody in the Fullerton defensive left side. And just Yarborough was able to just get back upfield and cut back on it. I'm sure we'll get a chance to look at it. You'll see that he made a great second effort, cut back on one of the inside defensive backs, taking an inside-out angle, and just took it the distance. He hasn't scored that many touchdowns because he doesn't know how to run, so he showed why he's
20 of them so far in the season.
Yeah,
and here
again,
comes
now you
21.
See him cut back now on the defensive back right there. And just keeps working in that end zone. He's a guy who smells that pay dirt.
And he's not a small back either. They say he's 6'1", 195. He looks a lot bigger than that to me.
That's true.
Well, now it'll be the test of the young Hornet squad against the older, more mature Renegades. Haydick and Imperiali back deep, but keep in mind that this year Imperiali has galloped all the way with one of these. It will go to Haydick. He will take it at the 5. Reverse.
That's a great call.
To Imperiali. He's got a hole. He could take off.
Come on.
Nick John Haydick, one man to beat. He cuts in on him.
What a move.
Nick John Haydick, 95-yard burn, no flags. Touchdown, Hornets.
Oh boy, you called it. What a fabulous return. You know what, Mark? That was so well set up that even the reverse would have worked. I thought he handed it off, and if he'd handed it off, Imperiali would have gone the distance the other way. What a great call. Big games are won with big plays like that.
He was a track scholarship man at Cal Poly Pomona. He decided to stop being a Bronco and become a Hornet. But I'll tell you, there's the spirit of the Kentucky Derby in that one.
I'll tell you, it wasn't his track running that was so impressive there. It was his in and out maneuvering.
Haydick is not a big player, but he certainly filled the bill there.
He's big right now.
And that lit up the stands, and you've even got the Renegade fans smiling at that one. That was just an outstanding return. The #1 and #3 teams in the country in JC football, and this is why. So we see a whole quarter where we have 3 points scored, and in the matter of just a few moments, we have 2 touchdowns scored almost back to back. And I, quite frankly, try to keep track of the clock. We did not get an opportunity to record the time of that, but there's the the man of this moment, Nick John Haydick, a 95-yard touchdown return for the Hornets. And now, along with that return, the #1 kicker in the state, All-American Kirk Hainline, will try to put the Hornets back on top with the conversion. John Brocky to hold, and every point becomes important in a game like this. Hainline is perfect. 12:07 remaining until halftime, and the Hornets back on top by a score of 10-7. Here comes your replay, Dale Hoy, and this was
poetry in motion.
This
here,
is
Mark.
Textbook right here.
I don't know what I can say about this, but here's the fake, and you won't be able to see it, but Imperiale could have gone the distance. There's a great burst of speed. This is just speed right here. Now he sees what he's got to do, makes a great move.
There's
this is
the move.
That's right. And now here's the speed again, where he just is able to outrun everybody after he's made the initial move.
That was a little bit after the fake reverse, but I thought that Imperiale was going to get the ball, and he faked me out.
You know,
and obviously a lot of the Renegades too. So
you know, Fullerton has done a super job all year long of coming up with a big play when they needed it.
Remember, in August when it was 103, they had 72 freshmen. They're playing a lot more mature than one might expect.
These guys
now
are
the
not
Renegade
freshmen
fans
anymore.
are up on their feet, and we've got a good portion of the second quarter left and the whole second half to follow, and we're glad you could join us along your local cable network via Fullerton College Media Services. Kirk Hainline to kick it off. Now what are the Renegades going to do? The ball will be taken this time at the 5, where the Renegades by Thomas. Will history repeat itself? It might.
Well, we got a shootout, don't we?
Thomas from the 5 out to the 42-yard line. So we're sorry that one was only a 38-yard return on that kickoff.
Yeah. Go have a sandwich, come on back for the next kickoff. I'm sure it'll be more. We could watch a whole game just watching these people return kicks on both sides.
This time I'll write down the time as far as when the drive starts. You never know.
Oops, I think Mahi Lavia is going to be a little bit offsides there.
Well, the only freshman on the starting defensive set for the Hornets makes the first-year mistake, but Lavia saved a few ball games for the Hornets as well. And the 6', 210-pound player out of Western High School will get nailed for being a little bit over-anxious. So offsides against Lavia.
Let's see if we see Karl Price with the ball again.
Hornets now will set things underway. 1st and 5 from their own 47. Green, pass deflected at the line of scrimmage, and the man who did it was Pat Mason, the big 6'5", 270-pound defensive tackle out of Sunny Hills High School.
He's another one of those All-America types, isn't he?
We're going to go down to the sidelines again. Gary Hilbert with a report.
And 5. Mark and Dale, we've got some information for you down here on the sidelines. Of course, Fullerton just scoring that touchdown. Things are flying high here on the sidelines, but pinch nerve is Monty Reedford's problem right now, but he'll be back in the ball game.
Gino Valpredo for Bakersfield on what I believe, other than the kickoff return, will probably be one of the biggest returns of the ball, or runs of the ball game from the Renegades' 47-yard line. He moves the ball all the way down to Fullerton's 33.
Yeah, they've got another good-sized back in there in Gino Valpredo.
So that's a
6',
20-yard
205.
gain. That's the second longest run of the ball game, other than the touchdown run earlier. Here's Green.
Oh, I thought that was going to be an interception.
So Valpredo, or Valpredo more accurately, one of 5 backs they shuttle in the offensive scheme for the Renegades.
Yeah, they could wear you down with these guys. They're 5'11", 190, 5'11", 217, 6'1", 195, 5'9", 204, and 6', 205.
So the Hornets show a lot of fronts and sets, and the Renegades show you a lot of different faces.
Yeah.
2nd and 10 from the Hornets' 33. Slot back, in motion, split backs, and 2 wideouts. They're going to give the ball this time to Valpredo again. And from the 33, he'll be down to about the 26, maybe 27-yard line, depending upon where they spot the ball.
You know, you heard it said thousands and thousands of times, and I don't want to run it in the ground, but you know, he who controls the line of scrimmage is going to win the ball game. And right now, Bakersfield is controlling that line of scrimmage.
And we're going to be thoroughly in control of what's going to go on here. We'll be back with more play-by-play right after this. You didn't miss a thing, and neither did the Hornets defense as they read that one all the way and bring down Maceo Barbosa right at the 25-yard line. They'll give him maybe a yard.
You know, they seem to have had some real success when they've run these backs in this situation. Actually, I was going to say they've had a lot more success running their tailbacks, but that's not really the case because Karl Price, one of their fullbacks, has done a real fine job too.
Barbosa on that last carry, 4th and 1. Crowd coming to its feet. 10-12 until halftime. Hornets on top by 3, nearly offsides.
I think
there is a flag, and the man with the ball is Reggie Yarborough. He's dragged down, but I believe they're going to nail the Hornets. Mahi Lavia, the freshman again, a little over anxious.
I don't know. Yes, it is.
Indication from the head linesman is it was the Hornets, and that could be a costly penalty.
That's a big one. That hurts. You had them stuffed.
So a 5-yard penalty against the Hornets again for offsides.
Offside penalty, 5 yards.
It's the second time Lavia's been caught with that. There's Hal, and that's the kind of thing that'll make any coach pace up and down the sidelines. 1st and 10 now from the Hornets' 19-yard line. This drive started for Bakersfield back on their own 47-yard line. It's Yarborough again, and it takes 3 guys to bring him down, and you might expect that. Boy, he looks a lot bigger than 195 pounds, and we're like a half a mile away from the playing field in this stadium.
He must be a strong one because he just ran right through Ernest Johnston and Lee Femley there.
2nd and 6 from the Hornets' 15-yard line.
Not going to arm tackle him. You got to step up there and meet him with the body and wrap up on him.
3 guys had his arms, and he just carried him right into the next area code on that one. 2nd and 6 from the 15. 2 wideouts to the bottom of the screen, one of the top split backs. Hornets show blitz. They try to go to Collins.
Collins doesn't look like he's real happy about coming across the middle, does he?
You got some of the finest defensive secondary people in the state in that Hornet secondary, as you might well expect. 17 players made all conference from the 1988 Fullerton squad, and a lot of them come out of that backfield, like Christensen and Glatzhofer, names like you've heard all season long. 3rd and 7.
Let's see if this might be a pass again here.
Green looks like he may be audibilizing. Give the ball this time to Maceo Barbosa, and he should have enough for the first. He's going to be real close. Officials timeout.
There's another situation where alignment pretty well set the play right before it was ever run. They just had more blockers in that area than Fullerton had defenders.
I may have said 3rd and 7. It was actually 3rd and 6, and he's real close to the stick, so that's why we'll wait and get the official word. Referee Bill White says he got enough. So Barbosa
was able to get the corner that time. He was able to get around the corner just because they had more people to block.
So officially now it'll be 1st and goal from the Hornets' 9-yard line. 9 minutes and 30 seconds until halftime here at the Shrine Potato Bowl in Bakersfield, California. Strong right, triple setbacks for the Renegades. Again, the Hornets arrive early at the dance, and they're going to get nailed again. I can, even from up here without using the binoculars on that play, you could see contact. So this is going to be half the distance to the goal. Strange things. There's Hal, and the expression never changes. Of course, that's the biggest frown I've seen of the day so far.
No, he's not happy right now. You know, these are the kind of mistakes that you're supposed to have worked out a long time ago. Teams contending for the national championship don't end up offsides. You know, you don't go until the ball's snapped.
That's the 3rd offsides penalty of the drive against the Hornets.
Now, a couple times it was primarily due to Fullerton's aggressive nature. You know, the linebackers, when they're bringing them all the time up the middle like that, then, you know, they've got to time that blitz, and sometimes they get caught. But that particular time, it was all defensive line movement.
Right at the 5. Give the ball to Yarborough. Guess what?
Well, that drive can be attributed as much to those offsides penalties as to anything else. And that's not to take anything away from Bakersfield's effort there, but they were stopped twice. And penalties came back to haunt them. The Fullerton Hornets.
You just can't make those kind of mistakes.
Not at those times, no.
Against a team of this caliber and get away with it.
No, because when they had him stopped in 4th and 1, that was a big momentum switch when they didn't manage to stop him because of the penalty. He missed that extra
Pendleton missed the extra point. And boy, that one could come. Well, we've had a little bit of everything. We've had a fumbled punt. We've had a 95-yard kickoff return. We've had the key penalties, and now we have the mixed extra point.
I'm going to ask you how many big plays have the kicking game. Kicking game has run throughout this game, hasn't it?
And this has been the number 1 and 2 ranked kickers in the state.
Just take a look at it again, you'll just see that it's just good execution. Offensive line play, just straight ahead blocking, got the guard out on the linebacker, just straight ahead. They're just playing power football. They got bigger bodies, they're lining them up, they're pounding on them.
10 plays, 53 yards, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And Bakersfield on top 13-10.
You know, they're going to stay away from Nick John, huh? You know, so let's kick it to that other guy, Imperiale.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's give it to Imperiale, who was only the top return man in the Mission Conference.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to get it to Haydick. This time he'll move from the 4. This time he keeps it again. This time it doesn't fool anybody.
Yeah, but he got nice field position out of it. 30-yard line, that's a nice place to start. Fullerton's going to have to be a little bit more creative, I think, with their passing game.
About a 20-yard kickoff return for Haydick on that one. And the Hornets will set sail with 8:45 until halftime.
Let's see what type of time that Victor Williams can get throwing the football this time, Mark.
Now, do you want a sustained drive, or do you want to come right back and send a message on this drive?
You know what you want? You want to score. However you do it, you want to score.
Again, remember, enormous ball control in the first quarter for the Hornets. Not so this time. Give it to Andrews, off tackle. Breaks 1, breaks 2, breaks 3, breaks 4, and one of the reasons he may have broken some of those potential tackles is they're going to call, I think they're going to call Haydick for
a clip
for holding. There's the defensive set for, defensive squad that is, for the Hornets being counseled on the way to stop that guy named Yarborough, who's already got 2 touchdowns. And this is going to be more than just an incidental penalty. We look like we're going to get a full 10 out of this, so it's probably holding or a clip. It's going to be holding against the Hornets.
And normally when you see the wide receiver come down and make a block, you figure it's probably a clip. But this time Nick John got his hands caught in the cookie jar.
The line of scrimmage had been the 30-yard line. It's back to the 22, so at least John was 2 yards down the field when he did that. So it's technically going to be 1st and 18 from the Hornets 22. Single setback, double wideouts. Williams rolling to his right. He wants Haydick. He'll settle
for Clipper
instead.
Clipper Hackett.
Clipper Hackett.
That's a big play. That's a big play, Mark. Clipper, we haven't seen him catch the ball a whole lot this year, except early on in the season. That's a big play.
Hackett on an enormous gain that time for the Hornets from his own 22 all the way down to the Renegades 45-yard line. Be a gain of 33 yards.
Yeah, the situation there that developed was because of the play action off to the left side. Victor was able to roll back to his right and had some time to locate a receiver.
Now these guys that you see on the screen there, the defensive set, would like to stay doing just what they're doing, sitting there and talking, and let the offense spend the day on the field. Andrews tried to turn the corner, and the grass that frankly in early December looks like it's pretty well run its course for this year comes out from underneath him. And
well, that is the one bad place on the field, Mark. I was walking the field earlier. The one bad place on the field is in front of both benches, and that's because it gets trounced on so much during the course of the year. And they had a high school local championship game here last night as well.
Yeah, they had a big one up here. Bakersfield's high school, I believe, or one of the Bakersfield area high school, they had 15,000 here for that one last night.
Bakersfield High against Western High, I believe it was. Bakersfield High won a close ball game.
We don't have the final score, but we were told that like this one, it was a goodie. They're going to give it to Andrews. Bobs and weaves and twists his way down to the 37. So he'll get about 6 on that.
I'll tell you, there's no secrets, Mark. There's no secrets on blocking this thing. They're lining up in that, 5-2, 3-4 look, whichever you want to call it. And you know right where to run at the bubble. You know, the bubble being the softer area. The linebackers up by the guards, they're running right there and being successful.
I asked Coach Scherbeck earlier in the week, I said, you going to do anything fancy out of the ordinary? And it was basically, we're going to run what we brung, which got us here all year long.
That's right, you dance with them that brung you.
I formation this time, 3rd and 2. Ball spotted at the 36-plus yard line of the Renegades. Give it to
what
Andrews.
A nice block. Nice block by Polaris again, allowed him to get the corner.
Another good block by Haydick to tie up one of the cornerbacks as well. And Andrews moves it from the 36 all the way to the 25, a gain of 11 on that. I think that may be Jeff Andrews' biggest carry of the game so far. Let's go to Gary Hilbert.
Markendale, defensive coach Jeff Jesperson had a lot to say to his defensive squad as we saw the shot earlier. He says that his defense is too slow out on the field. They're not picking up the offensive signals quick enough from the other ball clubs. So that's been their main squeeze here on the sidelines, is for the defense to pick up the pace. And now back up to you guys.
1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. 6 minutes and 30 seconds until half. Williams doesn't see the pursuit. And we have the first sack of the ball game by the Renegades, and I believe it's linebacker Everett Lampkins who came in untouched.
On a blitz, that's right. Came right in between the guard tackle gap. Was completely untouched. And so that's the shortest distance between 2 points being a straight line. He took the shortest distance.
Loss of 10.
Now that's an example of when a linebacker timed it perfectly. Now if Victor had seen this, now here you see, right here, you'll just see him come right out through the screen. He's just blown by the guard before the guard has a chance to get to him. There's really not a whole lot that Joe Hayes could do with him. He timed it well. Victor has to see that and slow down his count so you catch the guy off sides.
Lampkins has been causing some heartache all game long for Williams. He'll look to the end zone now, or near it, to Haydick, who had the ball, lost it, and it's not considered a reception.
Oh, you don't see him do that often.
When you run 95 yards for a touchdown and you want another one, sometimes you get to pay dirt before the ball. And I think John probably peeked out of the corner of his eye there and knew that he had one in the bag if he could have held on.
Victor sure laid that ball in there nicely, didn't he?
Fine pass, and that time, unlike the play before it,
yeah, Victor had some time.
On that one, he had time.
Now, I'm not sure whether Nick looked up or not. He may have looked up and noticed he was in some dangerous territory.
I think it was either dangerous territory or he was thinking this one's going to make the highlight film, and it didn't make anything. 3rd and 10. He's in motion. That's Haydick. Williams will roll to his right, and we're not going to even finish this thing.
Delay a game. Too much time.
You know, one thing that we talked about throughout the season, and it could really become a factor, it's something that with a team of the caliber of the Hornets you would not expect. Coming into this national championship game, if you will, they had 98 penalties for 900 yards, averaging over 90 yards in penalties per game. And frankly, that's a stat that I've underlined in every game we've covered here on our Fullerton College telecast, and I wondered if it could come back to haunt them, and it certainly looks like it might be doing just that today.
Yeah, well, the big question there is when do you get the penalties? A lot of the winning teams end up being highly penalized because they're very aggressive.
3rd and 25. Williams unloads it to Imperiale, and he went over 2 defenders and almost came up with it, but the pass is incomplete.
Great effort. That was a coverage play there. Everyone was covered on that play.
So that'll bring up a 4th and 25 from the Renegades' 41-yard line, and Hainline will be on to punt. This is another little questionable thing. Well, let's take a look at the replay first. Here's Williams.
Victor had plenty of time.
Great pass, but there were too many people in the neighborhood. And yet Imperiale almost came up with it.
Yes, he did. Fine effort.
Punting average has not been great, and that's one of the reasons why Matt Waddell became the punter later in the year. The team was only averaging about 32 yards a punt throughout the season. Line of scrimmage this time from the 41, and it'll roll out of bounds at the 16. And you have a 25-yard punt, and that's not going to help the situation either. So 5:22 until halftime here at the
Fullerton's
Shrine
defense.
Potato Bowl.
Excuse me, Mark. Fullerton's defense has been put through the ringer the last couple series. Let's see if they can bend their neck and get it done this time. Or is that bow their neck?
Green looking across the middle again.
Got some pressure on him.
He wanted to throw that time to his tight end, Lionel Sykes, but Sykes was covered and he ran out of time.
Well, he didn't get back in the pocket. I mean, he got back, looked short, and then didn't continue to drop. I mean, he's got to continue to work away from the D line. Heck, they dropped him at about a 2-yard depth.
The line of scrimmage on the play had been the 16-yard line.
So you drop back, you set your feet to throw the short one. If the short one isn't there, you get back a little bit further, or you roll one way.
I think that's what you lovingly referred to earlier in the year as a coverage sack.
Yeah.
2nd and 14 from the Renegade 12, and Green's in trouble again. But this time he'll unload it to the tight end Sykes, who's knocked out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Tackle made by Mahi Lavia.
Yeah, when he broke contain, then that's the most dangerous thing for a defensive coach. You know, he dies every time he sees a quarterback break contain, because as soon as he does that, now he's got time to either locate someone else or run up the field. And that time, when Kevin Capps committed up to try to stop the quarterback's forward progress, the tight end came open underneath.
They needed 14 yards for the first down. They got 13 to Sykes. 3rd and 1 from the 25. Clock at 4.5 minutes left. This is Yarborough. He's got 2 TDs already and fighting there, trying to break away toward a 3rd one, but he's tripped up by the Hornets defense.
Well, he's got his first down.
And notice on the field there, you look at your screens at home, notice how the shadows are starting to lengthen. The sun's beginning to drop down in the western sky. We still have some time until halftime, but boy, that could really become important in the second half. Not only is the sun going to be in their eyes, but the glare here looking downfield could really be a problem later in the day.
Yes, it could.
1st and 10 from the 27. Green going to Collins. Look out.
Well, he put that ball on the money. Just a simple post pattern. They had the right coverage, locked up man. The safety wasn't able to get there. He threw the ball in the seam between the safety and the corner.
One man or Collins would have been off and gone on that one.
Yes,
ball is spotted at the Fullerton 43-yard line.
Here you see that Green just has time to throw the football. Gets back, sets his feet. Just a quick post pattern.
30-yard pass play.
You know, it's, in my opinion, the Fullerton defense looks a little bit ragged right now. And I don't mean ragged in terms of not making plays. I mean they look a step slow.
Well, and the other thing is, and I wondered about this, we'll be checking with Gary Hilbert about it later on. There's a timeout in the field, and this is a good time to talk about it. They have been outsized all season long, but maybe more so today than they have been in other places. They saw some big people in Orange Coast and some other folks, but this is the interior 5 linemen for Bakersfield. Myron Williams, this is left to right, 295. Jeff Miller, who was just named a JC All-American at left guard, 260. Abraham Soto, one of 2 Sotos on the squad, 226 at center. Vic Pierce, right guard, 258. And Don Matthews at right tackle, if you can believe the program, 6'2", 336.
Yeah, they're big and they're pounding, and you know, Fullerton has been outmanned size-wise several times this year, but you know, they haven't come up against a club that had as many weapons and was as good a team besides being as big as they are. This is the first real test they've had of a team has outsized them and also had good talent.
I believe the Hornets called timeout. That would mean they would have 1 remaining in the first half, 2 left for the Renegades. There's the shadows we were talking about. And apologies, we have 2 timeouts taken by both teams so far in the first half.
Yeah, those shadows, the way the kicking game has been going, those shadows may figure to be more prominent as the game goes on.
Green so far 8 for 17, 99 yards. More importantly, though, no touchdowns through the air. But that could change right here. Green looking long. He's got a man open. And that's Lionel Sykes. And while we're talking about size on that offensive line for the Renegades, Sykes is 6'4" and 225 at tight end. So he's a force to be reckoned with. And there you could see he beat his man and was off and running. If the pass had been there.
Yeah, they're pretty big everywhere.
They really are. And as far as Green was concerned, he had his best game of the season in their last regular season victory over LA Valley. He was 18 of 31 for 311 yards and 4 TDs. Not quite that today.
You notice now on second down they went without a huddle. They're trying to keep some of Fullerton's nickel people out of there, those extra defensive backs that they might have thought about bringing in on a second down and 10 yards to go.
Well, Yarborough got 1 yard, so it'll be 3rd and 9 from the Hornets' 42-yard line. 3 minutes left in the first half, and clock comes up to the 3-minute mark right now as they get set for this 3rd and 9 play. Splitbacks looking for the wide man Collins. He runs out of time, and there'll be a sack, but hold everything. We got a flag in the Hornets secondary, and it could be defensive holding. It looked like somebody tried to keep Collins from
well, it's either going to be on 57 holding the tight end, dragging across the middle,
or they're trying to hold up Collins. Now, Lindsey Collins is giving the signal of holding, like he is aware of the fact.
That's who I meant to say. I think 57, the linebacker.
Defensive holding against the Hornets, 5 yards, automatic first down, and that's another Hornets penalty. We'll try to get the total. Remember
that may have been on
all
Dante.
Season long, almost 10 penalties a game and nearly 100 yards.
That was either on Dante Venturelli, who was trying to hold up Lindsey Collins dragging across the middle, or else it may have been on Dorian Estes over here at the corner.
There's Sherbeck, and he's not happy. Already with just less than 3 minutes left in the first half, 10 penalties, 60 yards, and we're not even out of the second quarter yet.
Well, there we got another offsides. So there's another free 5 yards for the Bakersfield Renegades.
Line of scrimmage was the 32. And wonder if we've got one each way here. We got offsides against the Hornets again.
Yeah, that one's a pretty clear call. I think that was Mason, wasn't it, there that came across? Actually, it may have been Femley.
So that'll be the 11th penalty. 65 yards, 2 minutes and 30 seconds until halftime. And just like their last touchdown drive, the Hornets kind of giving away the store here to the Renegades, and this is not a team you can do that. Hornets send a linebacker, and they nearly pay the price for it.
Price again.
If Price had been able to get out of that last tackle attempt right there, there was nobody there. The Hornets sent a linebacker. I think they sent Ernest Johnson, if we get a look at the replay, but it's the old thing of hit them where they ain't, as they used to say long ago. And that's a point right there where
defensively, Fullerton just looks very slow at the moment.
They really do.
I think they're being physically handled here.
It could well be. 1st and 10 from the Hornets' 19-yard line.
And just as I say that, the littlest guy on the field, Kevin Capps, knifes through and makes a super tackle. So that was Yarborough again with the football.
Price gained 8 yards on the run before that, and then on this one, Yarborough gets from the 19 to maybe the 18, so they'll give him credit for a yard. 2nd and 9 from the Hornets' 18. Minute and a half remaining until halftime. Green looking out to the left side to Collins, and the pass is incomplete. Well, one thing they've pretty well effectively been able to do is shut down the threat of Stan Green through the air. He's 105 completions and 186 attempts for the year. As we said earlier, 1,766 yards. He had 20 touchdowns like Yarborough had on the ground, but that part of the Renegade offense has not been a factor yet. Yarborough has. He's already got 2 TDs.
Well, it actually has in a sense, though, Mark, because it's kept some drives alive with some key plays.
But they are definitely mixing it up quite well between pass and here's a run. Yarborough again, and he almost gets away. John Christensen with the ankle tackle, and Yarborough moves it from the 18 down to the 10-yard line.
You know, we have a replay on this. You'll be able to see that you'd have to be blind not to see that the right side, or actually the left side of the Fullerton defense, is just obliterated on that play. There's nobody there to make the play at the line of scrimmage.
Yarborough so far in the ball game, 10 carries, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 4th and 1. Karl Price from the 10 to the 5.
Hornets need a big play here. They're just being blocked right now. Straight ahead football, power football.
So the #1 team in the country down by 3, and it could be 10 real quick. The Renegades are playing like it in front of a packed home crowd. 1st and 5. This is Yarborough, that is.
Fine play by Scott Hager. Beat his man, got in, wrapped up on Yarborough around the legs before he could get going.
And we do want to emphasize that it's not Yarborough, it's Yarborough. Reggie Yarborough, 6'1", 195-pound sophomore. There you see the written history of the whole story, but that doesn't really tell about the kickoff returns and the fumbles and the unbelievable amount of penalties that the Hornets have inflicted upon themselves. The score 13-10.
Well, I believe if Bakersfield has called this timeout, it's their last timeout. So with 13 seconds now, they're not. I can't see them taking a shot running the football because I don't think they can get their field goal team on the field quick enough. So you've got to pretty much anticipate a pass.
When you got the #1 quarterback pass efficiency in the state, why not? Along with the clock. And that will be the final timeout of the half by the Renegades.
Now, Mark, I was just going to say, I think this situation lends itself to Fullerton. They've got good skill position people. There's not a whole lot of room for the Bakersfield Renegade receivers to work. So I think this should be a situation here that should work to Fullerton's favor.
And yet,
if they don't make another one of those mistakes.
And yet, if you did some kind of like delayed handoff, if you faked the pass and then gave it to Yarborough, that could be real big trouble.
I tell you, I would do it if I had 20-25 seconds. I would do it. That would be a great call. 13
seconds left and 4 yards between the Renegades and the Promised Land. 13-10 at the moment. They want more and they may get it. Wishbone backfield.
Yep, he's got to throw it in the end zone.
Green rolling.
Got his tight end. Lionel Sykes.
You know, before the ball game started, the sports information director for Bakersfield came up to me and he made it loud and clear. He said, you know, Lindsey Collins is getting all the publicity.
That's right.
But Lionel Sykes is the man who's made some noise. Pendleton on for the extra point. It's good. And frankly, the Hornets are in trouble. 7 seconds remaining in the first half. The Bakersfield Renegades having a block party in front of 15,000 friends. They're on top of Fullerton by a score of 20-10. And in case you're wondering and are a little bit concerned about what's going on at the moment, as best I can recall, the Hornets have really not played much catch-up ball this year. Only time that we covered it.
If we watch the replay here, what happened was when he faked into the line to Yarborough, one of the guys, the linebacker who had responsibility for the tight end, let him off easy, and the safety came up on the play because he thought Yarborough was going to get the ball, and he let the tight end go and drift free into that little hook to curl zone. That was a defensive breakdown. When you're playing defense, everybody has to play their specific assignment. In that particular time, there was a breakdown there. And because Green was able to get outside, he had all day to look for Sykes as well.
Squib kick, short, taken by the Hornets at the 30-yard line.
It's Tony Goulet, I believe.
Goulet returning the ball.
Yes, it is.
For the Renegades, 15 plays, 84 yards, 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
Now let's air this thing out. Let's see if we can get a big play. Fullerton's made big plays all year. Let's try to make another one.
2 seconds left.
If we complete it, maybe get a pass interference, and we can go ahead and kick a field goal if we get enough yardage.
They're just going to run out the clock. And as we said, or started to say a moment ago, other than the Grossmont Griffins that we televised earlier in the year, the Hornets have not really had to play catch-up before. And now they've got to do it against the #3 ranked team in the country when the second half gets underway.
Now, right now, Mark, the Hornets are, to put it bluntly, they're being manhandled.
And I don't think I would want to hear the language in the Hornets locker room at halftime. This time, Coach Scherbeck has a few things to say.
I would assume so. But you know, you know, there have been some defensive breakdowns and there have been some mistakes, but frankly, they're just being out. They're being out hit. They're being out overplayed by bigger, stronger people right now.
They're being outbigged, and you know the thing is, no matter how sophisticated the game of football gets, it still comes down to
still basic.
Draw the line, and I'm going to hit you, and see if you can hit me harder. In the meanwhile, we'll go down to the field of battle and see what Gary Hilbert's been able to find out.
Am I on?
Yes,
oh. Okay, we're live at halftime with my guests on the halftime show as three of the last national championship ball players that the Fullerton College Hornets have had here. On my left is Brian Owens, who later went on to play for the University of Hawaii, the Rainbows. And next to me here on my right, Dale Glenn. Of course, Dale went on to play for the national championship Oklahoma Sooners back in the year of '85-'86. And of course, Mr. Fred Dodd, also a member of the Fullerton College Hornets championship year from 1983. Welcome, guys. And first of all, Dale, let me talk to you real quick here. What have you seen on the field so far? It looks like the defense for Fullerton has been a little bit slow.
Well, the way I see it, Fullerton isn't getting beat by Bakersfield. They're getting beat by Fullerton. The only thing they need to do is pull it together. The things that put them out of position and got them behind this game are little penalties and a drop pass.
Okay, and Brian, as far as the Fullerton College offense is concerned, have you seen any bright spots, with the exception of Haydick's great play to have the long touchdown?
Well, like Liddell said, they have a couple of drop passes, and they need to pull themselves together and start, playing some good offense and moving the ball.
And of course, Fred, I would think that it was mainly the defense that has got a lot of work done, a lot of work cut out for them in the second half.
Yes, they do, because, Fullerton always had a great defense, and I feel they will come back because they're strong and they will do it.
Okay, now personally from you guys, Dell, of course you went on to play for Oklahoma. What was your experiences out there? Of course, an excellent organization to play for.
Well, the experience out there came back to the basics that I've learned at Fullerton College. It's been all about a gut check, which is what Fullerton needs to find right now. And just the basics that you learn here is togetherness, gut check, and, hard work ethics.
Okay, and of course, Brian Owens on my left played for Hawaii, and Fred Dodd, members of the 1983 National Championship for Fullerton College. Thank you guys for being my halftime guest, and let's go back upstairs with Mark and Dale.
Get another one.
All right, thank you, Gary. And the halftime activities continue here at Memorial Stadium in Bakersfield, California. A fine crowd on hand, and the shadows continue to grow. That could be a factor for the good or the bad if you're the Hornets in the second half. And that second half will be here before you know it. We'll be back with kind of the tail of the tape of the first half and the action of the second half after this. There's the score. Down to nearly the 17-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Renegades. They will spot it at the 17. Gain of 6 by Barbosa. And it's another long, sustained drive now for the Renegades, who did nothing in the first quarter and practically owned the place in the second quarter when they had the ball in the second quarter alone for 11 minutes and 47 seconds. 3:35 remaining in the third quarter. Split backs, man in motion. That's Sykes. Green, a little bit of a delay play. Maceo Barbosa working his way down inside the 10 to nearly the 7-yard line.
Well, the interior people on the defense that time just got sucked up inside. No one was able to wrap up on him. And as a result, Barbosa was able to bounce back outside and pick up good yardage.
It should be enough for a first down, 1st and goal. Here's the penalty story. In this season, the Hornets 98 for 900 yards. Opponents only 640 for the season. If you're wondering, the Renegades were penalized for around 700 yards for the year, almost 200 less than, I should say Bakersfield was penalized 200 yards less than Fullerton. With the ball, Karl Price.
Yes, sir, and he got hit. I think that was Craig Glatzhofer. It was. Craig came up. They brought a linebacker that time. They were playing some man coverage. It freed Craig right up, came right up in there, and really laid the wood to the running back that time.
Line of scrimmage had been the 7-yard line. They're down to almost the 3. So for that time for Price, 2nd and goal from the Hornets 4-yard line.
Of course, you don't want your free safety making tackles.
Full house backfield. Give it to Yarbrough. Bounces off one man and is stuffed back at the 7-yard line, but they're going to give him forward progress to, I think, the line of scrimmage.
Now this is a place for the call that you made earlier, Mark. You spread the defense out, bring in some wide receivers, and spread the defense way out, and then run a quick little draw.
And like you said before, this is where the sun could really become a factor. Those shadows are getting real long.
Big play, Mark. Big play right here. Good job.
Stan Green completed a pass to himself on a deflection at the line of scrimmage by the Hornets, and was...
Yeah, it's legal.
It's a legal pass if you're wondering.
In case you're wondering, that's right. I know you're sitting there looking at it saying to yourself, can he do that? Yes, he can.
Now you get into a situation where you bring on the place kicker. Pendleton will attempt a 28-yard field goal. This would give the Renegades a 6-point lead. That missed extra point could become very important. Pendleton up with the field goal attempt, and it's good.
Well, Fullerton dodged a bullet on that one. I think they should be happy to come away with only 3 there, considering the, I have to be blunt, I should say, and say atrocious punt. That punt hurt.
A 21-yard punt by the Hornets.
Good goal line stand, bend but don't break.
Set up that entire situation.
Hamilton will kick off to the Renegades. Imperiale and Hayden each receive.
Now we need another touchdown here.
It's a 10-play, 50-yard, 4-minute and 20-second drive by the Renegades. Bakersfield on top, 23-17 over the Hornets. There's already been a 95-yard kickoff return in the first half by Nick John Haydick, and they could use another one now. Haydick driven back in the end zone, no return.
Well, that's one way to simplify your kicking problems, huh?
Absolutely.
Just don't let them return it.
The sun, and it looks like as the game continues to grind on, that the crowd is becoming more and more involved in it. And you would have to expect that, and you could certainly understand it. If the Renegades could knock off the Hornets, they'd be well advised to stake claim to the national championship. There's the sun setting in the west, and is it setting on the fortunes of the Hornets? We'll have to wait and find out. 1st and 10 from the 20. Haydick in motion, give it up the middle to Polaris. He breaks away, he's got some blockers.
Nice effort. That's just individual effort. Once he got past the line of scrimmage, he refused to go down, kept his balance, kept his leg drive, worked his way upfield. That's why he was at one time the all-time leading high school rusher.
16-yard
Southern
gain.
California. Excuse me, Mark.
Sorry, Dale. 16-yard gain. That's only Polaris' second carry of the ball game, and it's 1st and 10 for the Hornets from their own 36. Andrews out, double wideouts to the bottom of the screen. One of them is Imperiale, and I believe the other fella is
Mike Thomas.
Mike Thomas. Williams is looking at Thomas and throws it right into the hands of Matt Love, the Renegade strong safety, who drops it at the 45. That is the second time that the gods have smiled on Williams. He stepped out of bounds on what would have been a pass interception, and that time the guy without the sun in his eyes dropped the ball anyway.
I don't quite know what happened there. There's nobody around. I know Haydick was deeper than the 3 defensive backs you saw in your picture there, but I don't know. I guess he just
Tell you, if the
misjudged it.
The Hornets can come back on this one, Victor Williams better spend the weekend on his knees giving thanks, because there's 2 prayers that got answered right there.
He better hurry up or he's going to run out of time.
Showing blitz, nearly offsides. The Renegades send 2 linebackers, and it works.
I'll tell you what, they were offsides again, and they didn't call it.
Didn't call it.
That was offsides as clear as the day is long. They did not call it again.
Got a report from Gary Hilbert. Let's go downstairs.
I just got done talking to Victor Williams just before he went out to the field to handle the offense for Fullerton. He was on the headsets earlier talking to the coaches upstairs, and they were simply telling him to just relax and to not to push the issue. Hold back just a little bit. Look for that extra guy open over the middle. Back up to you guys.
No gain on that last play by Andrews. 3rd and 10. In motion for the Hornets is Wiley. Williams looking downfield. It should be complete, and it should be to John Haydick. Nick John Haydick, that is.
First down. You know, Victor's feet look a little bit, little antsy himself right at the moment.
Well, we expected a big crowd, and we got it. Attendance 18,237.
And there are not too many of them happy with that last play. They thought that Nick John trapped the ball, but it was clearly a catch.
You know, Fresno State is known as the Big Red, but if you follow junior college football at all, the same thing is true here in Bakersfield. This place is filled with the Crimson. That'll conclude the 3rd period of play. The Hornets have 15 minutes and 6 points to go to get this thing back the way they'd like it. There's the tail at the end of 3 quarters.
Actually, Mark, I think they'd settle for 7.
When it resumes, Haydick will have moved the ball from what was the 36-yard line up to the Hornets' 47. So it was an 11-yard gain for Haydick, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Hornets from there. Mark Hilmer, along with Dale Hoy, statistician Joe Ardent, and our entire Fullerton College Media Services sports crew, happy that you could be with us for the 37th annual edition of the Shrine Potato Bowl. Proceeds going to charity up here in the Kern County area. It's the 4th Potato Bowl appearance by the Hornets. They've won the 3 up till now, but they've got some work to do in their 4th appearance. Williams looking downfield. His receiver is tied up in Imperiale. No interference, just great defense by Eddie Thomas of Bakersfield.
Yeah. Tim's got to always force that play up and outside. You know, he's got to work to the sidelines on that play. I mean, he can't come back inside because Victor's going to get back and throw it at the sidelines. There's not going to be anybody there at all except the defensive back. Fortunately, it worked out well for them that time because it was too much ground for the safety to cover to get over and pick the ball off.
2nd and 10 from the Hornets' 47-yard line. Haydick comes out for a moment. Correction, that's Polaris that comes out. Haydick's back in along with Imperiale. Split back, strong right. Blitz shown again, both inside linebackers by the Renegades. Here they come. Williams quickly over the middle to Shane Wiley.
Nice adjustment. Very nice adjustment. I'll tell you what, Fullerton offensively in the second half, and this is a tribute to Hal Scherbeck and his staff. To win football games, it's great to come in with a game plan, but the people who win football games consistently are people who make the adjustments that have to be made in the heat of the battle. And that's what I think the Fullerton offensive staff and defensive staff are doing right now, and that's why they've climbed back into this ball game.
Ball had been on the 47-yard line. It makes it all the way to the 39 of Bakersfield. Gain of 14, 1st and 10. Give the ball to Jeff Andrews. Jeff Andrews meet Michael Thomas.
How do you do?
They have a term when you play football called stick 'em. Michael Thomas just did.
He stuck him.
Loss of 1 yard on the play. 2nd and 11.
On paper, it won't look as bad as it did on the videotape. In the record book, it'll go down as only a loss of a yard, but I have a feeling Jeff's going to remember it a lot longer than that. 2nd and 11 from the Renegades' 40-yard line. Wideouts both ways. I formation. Haydick in motion from the bottom of the screen. Williams back to pass. Wants to screen, and he can't. Receivers covered. Now he'll dump it off to Goulet.
And he's got a man downfield, an illegal receiver downfield. 64.
That was
had worked his way down there. I'm sorry.
Another little motion thing. They tried to make it look like they were going to go to the right. They wanted to swing back and screen to the left. They couldn't, and as a result, that ineligible man downfield for the Hornets.
Yeah, that'll be Brian Woods, who just drifted downfield, and he was about 10, 12 yards down the field when Victor finally threw the ball.
That play worked in the first half with Polaris, but the Renegades read it all the way this time.
Yeah, you know, the screen pass is one of the toughest passes to run in football because of the timing that's involved between everyone in it. And here you are running a double screen. You fake a screen one way, come back with it the other. That just, I don't need to say that, doubles the probabilities of the degree of difficulty.
Ineligible man downfield. They'll leave it at second down, but now it'll be 2nd and 16 for the Hornets from the Renegade 45-yard line.
Try to get back about 10 or 11 of it right here if you can.
Time of possession in the Hornets' favor in the last period, and we got a turnover.
Tell you, I think Brian was still feeling the effects of that penalty on him. He snapped the ball. Victor wasn't underneath him. There must have been some miscommunication. I don't know if Brian said, hey, I'm going to, you know, let's go on. I don't know if Victor said, let's go on a quick count, and he got up underneath the center. The center snapped the ball. Victor wasn't ready for it.
The third key statistic that we have been watching all season long is that when the Hornets fumble, they lose the ball 85% of the time. And there's an example of it. Recovered by the Renegades at 13:35.
Now in the first half, Gary had some first half guests, some former Fullerton players who said that they felt that Fullerton was beating themselves, and I disagreed with them at that time. I think at this point, though, Fullerton is beating themselves at this point now.
Well, with all the penalties they had in that second quarter, just in the third quarter alone, it says here on the sheet we were just handed 14 penalties for 48 yards. I think they mean 84 yards. They got the numbers transposed. One number that won't be transposed is the stats for Bakersfield's Reggie Yarborough from the Renegades 45 to the Hornets 45.
And Reggie wearing number 45.
Well, they're going to say he only got 9, so it'll be the Hornets 46 officially.
Oh, well.
Yarborough already with 2 touchdowns in the ball game. Triple wideouts for the Renegades, split backs. Clock 13 minutes exactly left in the season. One of these teams is going to come out of here national champions, and that fumble a moment ago may really have done some serious damage to the Hornets. Karl Price with the carry, he got 5.
Fullerton needs a big defensive play here. They need a turnover. They've got to get an interception, a fumble. I think that Green has been throwing the football real tight on some of these corners, and I think this might be a great time for a pickoff. I mean, I know everybody knows that, but if he may go to the well one time too often here. There he goes.
If they've got 5 backs they can run with, though, why pass?
Well, you see that coverage right there. I don't know why. I agree with that at this point. They could really be running the clock down, but for whatever reason, as you could see there, Estes was right up on that play. And again, he may go to the well one time too often.
Well, it's an example of little ball. Last 2 plays, one by run, one by the air, both 5 yards.
Here we go right here. You take a look at it, just steps back and knows where he's going to throw the ball, forces it, and Estes is all over him. One of these times he's going to go to it. And
meanwhile, the clock continues to tick. Triple wideouts, split backs. Stan Green faces a potential rush by the Hornet linebackers, but gets the pass away, incomplete.
See, now they didn't let him break contain that time, Mark. You see that? They kept him hemmed in, and he wasn't the same quarterback. He wasn't able to buy any more time so that he could wait for someone to come across the middle from the backside. You know, of course, I've got to mention earlier, I said that one of the DBs is going to come flying up and make that play one of these times, intercepted going the other way. The other possibility, too, is that Bakersfield coaching staff is setting up that little stop and go, where they'll stop and pump fake to that receiver and then run straight up the field and drop the ball in his arms for a touchdown.
Well, we had a big play at the other end of the field a while ago when Green kept it on a 3rd and goal. Now another big down, 3rd and 5, 11:55. Green, quick slant and pass, intercepted by the Hornets.
There it is. There it is, Mark. He went to the well one time too often. What's he been throwing? He's been throwing the quick stop and the quick post, the little slant route.
Another major turnover. There's only been 3 in the whole ball game, but they've all been.
Yeah, but you know what that does for you? If you're on Fullerton's side of the ball, well, what it does for you is, well, here we take a look at it. He steps back, goes to the well one time too often. I said it, you know, maybe too many times there, but what that does is it sets Fullerton's mind in the set that, hey, you know, we've been winning this way all year long. Things have been good for have been happening good for us like this, and now it's time for it to happen again.
Line of scrimmage, the 27-yard line, gain of 3 by Andrews on first down as they start their drive with 11:50 left in the clock and the season. There you see the man who made the interception, James Rollins, the left cornerback out of Servite High School. And he hopes that he will fare better in the postseason play than the Friars did in their high school playoffs.
Well, he's already fared better.
2nd and 7 from the Hornets' 30-yard line. I formation. The tight end is Shane Wiley, Haydick, and Imperiali in there. Give it to Andrews. Cannot get by the line of scrimmage, and if he had, he would have been off to the races. Andrews to the 32. 3rd and 5. This could be a big down right here.
Oh yeah, they're all big right now.
There you see the turnovers. For the Hornets, it was the bad snap not too long ago. And for the Renegades, a fumbled punt return by Lindsey Collins and a pass interception a moment ago by Stan Green. 3rd and 5 from the Hornets' 32. Haydick in motion. They got to have it now. Williams to Haydick. He lost the ball on the reception.
Yeah, but Fullerton recovered it.
I said it before, and at the risk of repeating myself, if you live in Orange County, you got to believe God is a Hornet right now. That is 3 of them that by all rights, in the interest of fair reporting, should have gone away from the Hornets. 2 pass interceptions, potentially against Williams the last
time.
time.
Go back and have a look at it here. He just takes a real clean shot, coughs up the ball right here on this hit, and Shane Wiley's able to get in there and dig it out. That's a championship effort.
That certainly is. That moves the ball up to the Hornets' 48. So it's a gain of 16 rather spectacularly. 1st and 10.
There's the left guard moving.
That should be Charlie Urich. Urich started the year as the 2nd in line at that position, but of course was lost when Matt Nicolo broke his thumb in the Golden West ball game. That'll back him up 5 more. What else is new? The Hornets now get the total number of penalties for you. 16 for the ball game and 88 yards. I think it's actually maybe even a little bit higher than that, but we'll go with that. 1st and 15 now for the Hornets from their 43. Williams looking long. He's got an open man. You go to the short receiver, Haydick.
Oh, he had Tim Imperiali open for a touchdown down around the 20-yard line. Didn't see him.
Imperiali was in the next zip code, and nobody knew it.
Yep. Oh, that's a shame. Those are those plays that are lost. I think back to a long time ago in the Super Bowl when the Jets beat the Colts and Earl Morrall was in the ball game, and if he'd just seen the one wide receiver open early deep down the field, he'd had a touchdown, and that game might have gone different than it did. Those are the kind of plays that make all the difference in the world. But that's all right. He still completed it for a 1st down.
Maybe more important than that, they've eaten up 2 full minutes. They got the 1st down, and they're driving.
That's right.
And they're 6 points down. 13-yard gain in the last play by Haydick. This is Andrews up the middle, and a good play that time by Jeff.
Close to 5 yards. Hard running. Hard running.
Just short of the 35, so they will give him credit for 5-yard gain. And boy, if you got to have a player of the ball game for the Hornets, it's got to be Nick John Haydick. Between the 95-yard kickoff return, some key receptions.
I don't know, right around now, I think I'd be voting for Polaris as well.
It would be.
As much for blocking as he has been for anything else.
Ray has thrown some outstanding blocks. He'd probably get the coach's award, where the spectators would say it would be Haydick, because the films will indicate what Polaris did to make Haydick and others look good. Give the ball to Andrews. Through a hole, got 5 more, and he almost lost the ball himself. Down just short of the 30.
Yeah, it would be real nice if Jeff could crank off a couple real big runs here.
Officially, they're going to give him a gain of 4. 3rd and 1 from the Renegades' 30-yard line. Actually, 31.
Now it gets interesting. The question becomes now, if they don't make it here, does Hainline come in and try to kick the ball?
27, I'm sorry, Dale.
That's
27 carries, 100 yards for Andrews. He averaged 142 during the regular season. And the nice thing about this game, with the #1 and #3 ranked teams in the country, it's turned out to be the kind of game that everybody thought it would be. There's been some mistakes, but they've been exciting mistakes.
Yes, indeed.
It's definitely been a dandy to watch, and you can hear the crowd in the background screaming defense, all 18,000 plus of them. They give it to Anders. He's over the 30, got the first down.
It's going to depend on the mark here. It's going to depend on the mark. I'm not so sure he got it, Mark.
I'm going to stick my neck out and say he did based on the foot of the head linesman. The referee, though, has stopped the clock at 8:07.
The old John Madden trick.
And they'll do the measurement. You could see Jeff Anders gesturing there. I got it. Come on, let's quit fooling around here.
Well, you know, there's referees in every corner.
By half the ball.
All right.
Hornets first down at the Renegades 29.
Yeah, good call, Mark. I couldn't tell for sure, but I knew it was close. I'd rather be wrong than right on that one.
They went 10 games throughout the season in the Mission Conference. They have been #1 ranked for the latter part of the season, and now they're 29 yards and 7 points away, and 7 minutes and 52 seconds from the dream possibly coming true. Williams looking for a receiver. He's got Imperiale, and Tim may have saved the ball game, and it could be offensive pass interference.
Yeah, it will be.
Imperiale knew he had no reception. He did not want the interception. And I tell you, that is one smart young football player,
Yeah, I
Tim
like that play.
Imperiale. And I would go ahead, and I don't think Hal Scherbick will get on him for that. They're going to call it against the Renegades.
Well, that surprises me. Let's have a look at that
Let's
one
get
again.
a look at that one. I think that is a bad call because the Hornets, Imperiale made a brilliant play.
We can't see much there. Maybe we can look at it one more time from the beginning.
They're going to call it on Eddie Thomas, but it looked to me,
I thought
you
Tim
decide at home,
pushed him in the back and went over his back.
Exactly. Imperiale went over him to prevent the interception.
And if he had, if he'd been called, I still would have stood my ground and said I think he made a great play because he kept that safety from having a clean shot at intercepting the ball.
1st and 10 from the Renegades 14-yard line. Andrews got maybe a yard. I started to say, Dale, a moment ago, I didn't think Hal Scherbick would yell at Tim Imperiale for that because it would be better to take the penalty than allow the interception.
That's
but
right.
here, let's take another look.
It may be hard to see here. Yeah, it's real hard from that angle to see what took place, but we knew that Tim kind of went up over the back, and I thought maybe he pushed the defensive back a little bit in the lower back.
Now, when you do look at it the third time, though, both of them were playing the ball, but it's a matter of opinion.
Well, I didn't see any defensive interference there.
No, none whatsoever. 2nd and 10 from the 14. Williams wants to throw. He's hemmed in. Give it to Wiley, and I think he stepped out of bounds before he caught the ball.
Yes, he was.
The catch was legal, but he'd already stepped on the chalk before the play.
That's right. So they'll lose yardage on it, won't they? Yeah. Yep. They lose yardage on the play because he was an illegal receiver. We go down and take a look at it now, we'd probably be able to see. I don't know if we'll be able to see, but watch him right when he catches, he hops back in. I don't know, you couldn't see that there.
That makes him an ineligible receiver.
That's correct.
Now an interesting down. 3rd and 15 from the 19-yard line. They build it as the national championship game, and it's been that. Michael Williams almost took Victor Williams' helmet off. The pass is completed to Shane Wiley. The ball is at the 13, and now what do you do?
Well, what we're going to do is when we look at this play again, I want you to take a look at how much help Victor got. He makes a great move to escape. Now watch people come back and help him with blocks. Here he escapes. Now he's running through. 93 gets picked off. 75 has held up long enough for Victor to make a move and throw the ball. Got a lot of help. People down there are giving a championship effort right now. I'm real impressed. This is a real strong championship effort on both sides.
A gain of 6 on the play. That'll make it 4th and 9 from the Renegades' 13-yard line. The Hornets called timeout. They're trying to figure out what to do. You figure out at home. a field goal won't do it. You've got 6:18 left. You need at least 2 of them. You figure you probably will get another possession. And there is the coaching staff of the Hornets trying to figure out what they're doing. I would tend to think
kick the field
goal.
Yep. That's just my opinion, you know, and now it's possible that Scherbeck has something under.
The other thing you have to wonder about now, if you really want to get interesting, is what happens if they tie. The Hornets are 10-0. They're ranked number 1. Number 2 is Glendale, Arizona. Now they played 1 less game, and then you'd have to say in the Bakersfield argument, we're undefeated. We tied the number 1 team. That's when you just get out of the way and let them fight.
Yeah.
You could bet your bottom dollar the Hornets wouldn't be number 1 anymore, but would you give it to Glendale, Arizona, or would you give it to the Renegades? On one poll, Glendale, Arizona already has it. But like Bakersfield, they didn't play the people that Fullerton played. I would have to probably give it the nod to Bakersfield.
Play of the game, Mark.
4th and 9. They're going for it.
He got a first down, Mark.
Nick John Haydick, 1st and goal Hornets at the 3. Now, who's your player of the game?
Tell you, he got just enough yardage for that. That's good coaching. He knew just what he needed. He got down the field. He got it. He didn't come back too far to the ball to take himself out of first down range.
Here he comes off the field, Nick John Haydick, and he'll get a welcome from the Hornets.
Gets back, sits in. So they needed the pass protection, and they got the pass protection. Championship effort.
If you're a national champion, you got to win under pressure.
That's right.
Give the ball to Andrews. He's to the 2.
He may be to the 1, Mark. I'm impressed. That's very impressive on Coach Scherbeck's part to go ahead and make that call.
You know, last August I had an opportunity during a scrimmage against Long Beach City College to walk up and down the sidelines and meet Nick John Haydick. His brother was there, who I think is in high school getting ready to come to college, and I said, which one's the better one? And he said, I am. 2nd and goal from the 1.
Still got to put it in.
Jeff Andrews a little bit closer.
Actually, that was Ray Pilaris.
Forgive me if I couldn't tell under the pile and high atop the Memorial Stadium.
Well, now what they need to do is, if you recall, when they went with that crossbuck action and they faked the ball to Andrews going to his right and came back to Ray Pilaris back to the left, I think this would be a great time for that call.
4:52. There's Victor for the day. 15 to 25, 190. 3rd and goal from the 1. Give it to Andrews. Touchdown, Hornets.
Tremendous drive. Tremendous drive. That's why this is the number 1 team in the nation right now.
And that's why that fella right there is the number 3 rusher. And 2nd team, JC All-American, Jeff Andrews with the 1-yard touchdown run.
I'll tell you, Mark, this has not been a disappointing game.
Hainline for the most important point of his career, and it's good. 4:41 remaining in the ball game. The number 1 ranked Fullerton College Hornets by 1 point over the Bakersfield Renegades, 24 to 23. And if I were you, I wouldn't walk away from the TV set just yet.
Didn't the JC Gridwire predict this would be 21-20?
You know, they have said that junior college sports is kind of the black hole of collegiate competition. This may be the best kept secret in college athletics. But there's 18,323 people in Bakersfield, and those of you in Orange County at TV at home that are beginning to get an idea of what it's all about. The drive started at 11:50 of the 4th quarter.
Well, it's interesting that it should come down now to the defense.
A 7-minute, there he is, Nick John Haydick, no, I'm sorry, Victor Williams and Jeff Andrews.
Haven't won it yet, guys, hang in there. we've still got to see this defense stop the Bakersfield offense.
A 14-play, 73-yard, 7-minute, and 9-second drive.
Every play important here, Mark. All Bakersfield needs, obviously, is a field goal.
They're even on their feet in the press box. The kickoff at the 10. It gets away from the return man, Eddie Thomas. Thomas from the 10 to the 30, and nearly a face mask penalty there. Now keep in mind, when it comes to the special teams for Bakersfield, that their place kicker is number 2 in the state behind Kirk Hainline, Jason Pendleton. I'm trying to find out if we can get it on here of what's his longest field goal of the season by Pendleton. 1st and 10, 4:30 remaining. Give the ball straight up the middle.
You're not going to line up like that and play these guys. They're too big and strong. We lined up with 4 people there. They had Flowers up as a linebacker. They had 3 down linemen. They've got to bring people in the gaps. They've got to bring a lot of people up on that front.
We're going to say this drive started about 4:35 remaining in the game. Frankly, to be quite honest with you, we didn't get the clock at that particular point. We ask your understanding on that in light of the circumstances.
Another Fullerton timeout.
9-yard gain on that play.
It could be painful later in the game. I hate to keep alluding to that, but it could be a problem.
Last play, Karl Price was the ball carrier. He's been an interesting... Let's go to Gary Hilbert first.
Well, Markendale down here on the sidelines. I believe Fullerton just taking their last time out of the ball game with just a little over 4 minutes to play. But I just got done talking to Mr. Williams, and our great quarterback simply said, well, I asked him, what was the key to the drive? And he said, Almighty God, as he pointed upstairs. So hopefully the Hornets can be able to hang on. But now the test is the Hornet defense. If they can hang tough, the Hornets just might come up on top of this ball game, national champions. And we'll keep you informed on that, of course, as the game wears on. Back up to you guys upstairs.
When's the last time you heard a junior college football crowd that loud?
Yeah, Gary makes that point, though, about the defense. But, I'm convinced that Fullerton defensively cannot line up man for man with his offense. They're going to have to bring people and stunt people into all the gaps.
4:08 left in the season. 2nd and 1 from the 39 for the Renegades. Split back, strong left. Give it to Yarborough.
Kevin Capps. Now you see what happens there, Mark. Kevin Capps gets across the line hard, takes on the first blocker, destroys the play in the backfield, allows the rest of the defensive front to come in and knock the play out.
And if you're a Hornets fan, isn't it poetic justice? The 5'7", 180-pound, he's probably wearing lead in his pants, Kevin Capps comes across the line and hits Reggie Yarborough, who's as big as my car, and fouls up the play.
That's right. But that's aggressive. They're playing the game aggressively. He played it aggressively on offense to win it. He's going to have to do the same on defense.
And wouldn't you know, the smallest linebacker is the only linebacker to really stop Yarborough all day long. 3rd and 3 from the Renegades 37. Give the ball to Karl Price, and he may have enough.
He may just barely have enough. Kevin Capps got it to his legs first. They're not blocking Kevin. He's out there wide, and he's coming down hard. He's got good, quick off-the-line burst. He's able to get into the plays.
They're going to take a little bit off the rush with the spot, and he didn't get there. This could be the whole tamale right here for the Renegades.
Well, you know what?
4th and a yard, 3 minutes left exactly.
You almost want to line 11 people up between the tackles there.
We'll just let the picture tell the story. This could be the national championship right here.
Gutsy call. Great call. That's a great call. I did not think it was the perfect time to make that call. I just didn't think that he would do it. I felt that he thought if he ran the ball, he could get the first down. That was a great call. We've got 2 teams and 2 coaching staffs knocking each other around out here.
A 34-yard pass play to tight end Lionel Sykes. And it ain't over yet.
No, and now Fullerton has got to hold them to a field goal, get the ball back. They cannot allow a first down here at all. And remember, we're without any timeouts, so Fullerton's going to have to be real creative in trying to get that field goal. Go back and look at it. This is just, everyone is up on the line to play the run. The great run fake pulls everybody up. The tight end gets behind the secondary man.
And John Christensen, who may be, along with Glatzoff, the two best guys in the secondary, is the man that got beaten. He was 5 yards away, so they really crossed up the Hornets' defense.
Well,
2 minutes.
I don't know, Mark. He's the tight end, and I think that the end man on the line of scrimmage is probably the cornerback's responsibility. So I could have very easily been, James Rollins on that play, who was covering on that side.
2:39 left in the season. Now, who is this flag going to be called on? Is it offsides or is it motion?
It's offsides.
This could become important.
It's offsides because nobody on Bakersfield's side, well, they're saying it's against Bakersfield.
I thought the left tackle, which would
that's a
be
big penalty.
Myron Williams, flinched, and this could mean a lot when it comes to field goals.
That's right. Big penalty. Big penalty.
The line of scrimmage right there was the 26-yard line. Standard operating procedure is you add 17 yards. That gives you a 43-yard field goal before that penalty. Now, it all of a sudden becomes a 48-yard penalty, and that could become really important.
That's right.
1st and 15 from the Hornets' 31-yard line.
Timeout.
Now the timeout's called by the Renegades. They have something to think about. Oh my, was this been a football game?
Yes, it certainly has been, Mark.
And we are happy that we could bring it to you.
I'm happy I can just be here. This is a lot of fun.
Dale has had quite a day, in case you didn't know. He even went down and bought himself his very own Bakersfield Renegade hot dog at halftime.
No, I tried, but you wouldn't believe it. There was a line 50 people deep. I never did get anything.
You need to
they must have some great hot dogs.
You know, the thing that is that you need to keep in mind that this is what it's like from, and has been for the last 20+ years in Bakersfield for junior college football. This is not like you might see in other areas of the country where the student body and people that live right around the college only come out to the games. When you talk about the city of Bakersfield, this is their football team.
Listen, that's right, Mark, and you can tell that by the stadium setup they have. This is phenomenal for a community college football team to have this kind of a stadium. I'm real impressed with this.
The capacity is 19,500, we've been told. I believe the biggest crowd they ever had here was over 22,000. They must have had them hanging from the hillsides.
But you can see over here on the closed end that they could always put more bleachers in. There's another section over there on the opposite side.
Keep playing like this, they might have need. 1st and 15 from the 31. 2:37 left to go. The #1 quarterback in the state at the helm of the future for the Renegades. Right up the middle of Price.
Got about 4 that time. Got to stay aggressive on defense. You've got to attack on their side of the line of scrimmage.
There's going to be a lot of unsung heroes in the game as you see the clock ticking down. But key guys today for the Renegades in the backfield. Karl Price got yardage for him when he needed to. Gino Valpredo got yardage. They have basically 5, if you will, starting running backs on that squad.
Well, you just have to credit that offensive line. They've done a real fine physical job.
2nd and 11 from the Hornets 27. Green rolling under pressure from Capps. Incomplete.
Kevin Capps.
Once again, the little linebacker with the big heart is in there.
That's right, little Popeye. I like him.
Now we get ourselves into a very big down. This could tell the whole tale right here.
That's coaching there. You know, that's coaching there too. They figured out where Kevin could help him, and that's how they utilize him. They put him out there and they just bring him hard.
We're talking 44-yard field goal right now if this 3rd down play were to be, say, an incomplete pass. Timeout again by the Renegades, and we'll find out if they have 1 timeout left. I think they have 1 left. Unofficially by our count, that was the 2nd one they used. Minute 54 showing on the clock. The Renegades have 1 timeout left. It'll be 3rd and 11 from the Hornets' 27-yard line. It would be a 44-yard field goal. We've been trying to find out what the longest field goal of the season that Jason Pendleton might have turned in, but so far we haven't had any luck coming up with that number. But 46 yards was his longest this season. It would be 44 right now, so we're in the neighborhood.
It'd be 44 right now, but based on the scores that I saw, he never kicked one under the kind of pressure he'll be kicking one under tonight.
Absolutely not. And now you wonder about that 5-yard motion penalty.
That's right.
That the Hornets, I believe, have 2 timeouts left. The Renegades have 1.
No, I don't believe Fullerton has any timeouts left. I believe that Fullerton has used all their timeouts. They used their first one within the first couple minutes of the second half.
Well, hold on to your hat. Here we go. 3rd and 11 from the 27.
Got him open. He can't be that open. That's
Lionel Sykes has done it again.
He just can't be that open.
From the 27-yard line, the ball is now spotted at the Hornets' 14-yard line. Gain of 13 for Sykes.
Well, now what really hurts Fullerton is they cannot stop the clock. Bakersfield can run this clock all the way down to 3 seconds, call a timeout, kick a field goal, and Fullerton won't be able to do a thing about it.
Bobby Blackman flanks out to the top of the screen, tells the crowd to get on its feet, and they are. 1st and 10 from the 14. Give it up the middle. The man with the ball, I believe, is Price. It is.
And that's where he's running, dead center down the middle of the field. Set that field goal up. You can just look for them now to continue to run this clock down and run the ball right between the hash marks.
2nd and 6 from the Hornets' 10-yard line. And boy, if the Renegades can pull this off, this will be the biggest party in Kern County in years. Yarborough.
Got to strip the ball.
Reggie Yarborough to the, call it the 7.
Got to strip the football.
Clock coming up on 1 minute remaining. 3rd and 3 from the Hornets' 7-yard line.
He might try to slip a pass in here this time. He certainly hasn't been conservative in the crunch lately.
Give it to Price, to the 2.
That's a first down.
1st and goal, Renegades. (43, 42, 41 seconds left in the season.
If there was ever a time for a big play.
Full house backfield, it's Price. Touchdown. Jason Pendleton to attempt the extra point. Fumbled snap, he still gets it up, it's good. The Bakersfield College Renegades are 26 seconds away from a victory in the 37th annual Shrine Potato Bowl. And they might be 26 seconds away, that is, from a national championship. But it's still not over.
That's right, it's not. As long as you've got Imperiale and Haydick back there, but of course, just straight ahead football there. Not a whole lot we can say. It's the kind of thing that Bakersfield's been doing all day. The big play in the drive, the passes to the tight end, especially the first pass on the 4th down and 1 yard to go.
11 plays, 69 yards, 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
Now he's not going to kick this football to Haydick.
26 seconds left. They call them the Renegades, and it sounds like a band of 18,000 of them as the kick is off. Haydick from the 12.
No hole.
Fumbled the ball.
He tried to pitch it.
It's
Tried to pitch the ball to Tim Imperiale. Even at the end, they still go down swinging.
Tony Amatia with the fumble recovery. 19 seconds left.
John, they can't run the reverse now, so he figures as soon as the first man gets to him, he's going to pitch the ball to Tim Imperiale. Hope he can go up the field with it a little farther. Just wasn't there.
Amatia recovers, 1st and 10 for the Renegades. At the Hornets' 30-yard line, 19 seconds left. Green puts his knee down. The Hornets can't stop it. The clock counting down from 15. And as they say, one picture's worth 1,000 words. By all rights, the Bakersfield Renegades should be the national champions in junior college football for the 1988 season.
Outstanding performance by both clubs. Again, I alluded to it earlier, the coaches as well as the players.
There at the center of the field, Hal Scherbeck congratulates Karl Bowser. 11 straight victories by the Hornets. The first loss in Scherbeck's career was at this stadium, and this may be one of his most painful. He thoroughly enjoyed this team.
You want to catch a poignant moment, look down at Hal Scherbeck right now on the 20-yard line, hugging his players. He knows they gave everything they had, just as he did. That is the value in sport. The camaraderie, the dependence on other people, the coming together for a common goal. That's the value of scholastic sport.
And I suppose if there's one thing that would probably help the Hornets swallow this, as you see Hal Scherbeck hug his players, most of these kids are freshmen.
We'll be back.
And they will have long memories of this one. And of course, they're under the tutelage of the winningest coach in junior college football history. There he is right there, Hal Scherbeck. And when you played in a game like this
was a fine game,
and you lost to a team like Bakersfield with the way they played after the second quarter got underway, you got nothing to be ashamed of. And the folks here in Kern County, the city of Bakersfield, and the Shriners Club, who put this whole block party on, have got a lot to be happy about. 18,327 fans on hand, a lot of money made for local charities, and I think they're going to be at the ice cream stand for most of the night here in Bakersfield.
Yeah, they probably will, long after the sidewalks are rolled up and put away. I think they won't have any problem drawing a big crowd next year.
Well, you know, Dale, you've been with the Fullerton College program in the past. This has been my first season with them, my first opportunity to get to know that gentleman right there. And we really want to extend our thanks to all of you for being with us throughout the 1988 season, and personally to all the folks back in the truck, our statistician Joe Arden. I've enjoyed my rookie season with you. We'll be back, I hope, in 1989, and we hope you will be too. For Dale Hoy and Gary Hilbert and all of us at Fullerton College Media Services, this is Mark Helmer reminding you once again, the final score, the Bakersfield Renegades beat the Fullerton Hornets in the Shrine Potato Bowl for the national championship by a score of 30-24.